dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Bengals All-Pro defensive end Trey Hendrickson ended his holdout and reported for training camp today, indicated he won't be participating until he gets a new contract. ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum.
You talk to people around the league, there is still a big gulf between where he wants to be and where Cincinnati is. So the fact that he's in is encouraging, but a hold in doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah.
And if I'm Cincinnati, until he's signed, I have to worry in the back of my mind, is he going to play or is he going to say that he's hurt? And that's a big concern if I'm the Bengals.
The issue in contract negotiations is guaranteed money. Ahead of tomorrow's MLB trade deadline, the Reds acquired third baseman Ke'Bryan Hayes, widely regarded as one of the best defenders in the sport, from the Pirates, for lefty Taylor Rogers and a prospect. Entering today, Cincinnati 3 games out of the final NL wildcard spot. The Cubs lead a pivotal NL Central matchup this afternoon against the Brewers. They're up 6-3, top 6. Blue Jays snapped a 4-game slide with a 9-8 victory over the Orioles. Tigers beat the Diamondbacks 7-2. Detroit and Toronto tied for the best record in the American League.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, Justin Jefferson said we'll need to be patient with J.J. McCarthy. I'll tell you why the Vikings won't have that luxury. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Saints, we're back on the practice field today. LSU opened up fall camp. I was there. We'll give you a full camp report. Let's begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, y'all. LSU hit the practice field for the first time in fall camp. Media was allowed to watch the entire workout. First 15 minutes or so indoors at the indoor practice facility. Then they moved outdoors for the final 45 minutes or so. And we got to see some individual drills where guys are just working with their position group, hitting sleds and doing a lot of things that wouldn't really catch anybody's eye. We did get to see some team period, some hurry up, no huddle, some 7-on-7, some 11-on-11, both in the 2-minute and in a normal scrimmage type situation. And so I want to run through all that. Probably going to need these first 2 segments to get through everything, to unpack the whole thing. But let me start by kind of giving you some big picture overview stuff that we noticed. And then I'll get into some of the nuance, top performers, stuff like that as well. Let's hear a lot of what Brian Kelly had to say because Kelly did meet with reporters after practice. So I guess to start, maybe the first thing that's most important to note is that they were really healthy. The only guy that was limited today was Nick Anderson, and Brian Kelly said it afterwards. Nick Anderson was in a car wreck. Wilson Alexander, the Advocate, was the first to report that while we're at SEC Media Days. Nick Anderson was in a car wreck because of the concussion, the protocol of coming back. He had to, I guess they have to sort of like, to clear protocol, he's got to practice without contact. And so they're not really hitting each other anyway. So Nick Anderson didn't participate in the team drills. He did individual work, but not team work today. And then he'll be back tomorrow. The only guy that's injured is Solomon Thomas, the freshman 5-star offensive lineman. When the media availability with Brian Kelly had ended, I went up to him after and asked him, was there anybody else limited? I was trying to get the microphone back, and it didn't come back to me. So he told me that Solomon Thomas broke his 5th metatarsal. Apparently that's a bone in your foot. I didn't know that. I had to look it up. But so he's got a broken bone in his foot. He's out a month, so he'll miss camp and then be back for the start of the season. But if we're being realistic, Solomon Thomas was probably in competition for backup reps. It just means it'll take him a little longer to come along. But we'll get to the offensive line here in just a smidge. So think about all the players coming into this camp that were coming off of injuries. Harold Perkins, full go. Coming off the ACL in a purple defense jersey. So, again, if guys are not in contact, they're in red no contact jerseys. Harold Perkins was in a purple jersey, and by the way, not wearing a knee brace either. Jacobian Guillory, coming off the ruptured Achilles in his purple jersey, his purple number 90 jersey, working with the D-line, no limitations, no restrictions, doing the whole thing. Jordan Gilbert, who had shoulder surgery after the season, missed spring, was out there running with the safeties, no limitations. They were as healthy as you could possibly imagine. The only guy that has an injury right now that's in any way limited is Solomon Thomas, the freshman offensive lineman, who's going to be out for about a month. So the way they structured practice, initially indoors, they did stretch, they did team, individual periods, and then they went into a team session where it was a hurry up, no huddle. They went outside and did 7-on-7, then some more individual drill, then another team period that we got to see. I'll tell you, let's start with kind of how they lined up some of those personnel decisions, and then I'll get into some of the individual performers that made big plays and some of that sort of stuff. The most notable thing that happened today, in my opinion, is Brian Kelly acknowledged Braylon Moore as the team's starting center. He talked about it after practice. He gave an update on the offensive line battle. And the most notable thing is that Braylon Moore ran with the ones. Remember, in spring, Braylon Moore and DJ Chester were rotating at center. Braylon Moore is the starting center, and Brian Kelly made that known.
Well, we're still competing for positions. You saw what we did. Braylon Moore moved into the center position. DJ Chester moved to left guard, so you guys can figure that one out. But DJ is going to compete with Paul. And on the right side, Josh is going to compete with Colin Eccles. That's competition. Karis Curran is going to push Tyree. Bordelon's going to push Weston Davis. Those are pretty much, what you should be seeing and, how that will move. There'll be some times that maybe DJ, slides in at center. We got a guy that played 13 games at center. Let's keep him sharp. So I think you'll see some moving around there, but there's competitive battles right now. We have to evaluate them as a group of 5, and then individually, who makes up that best 5.
So the most notable part is if you looked at the second offensive line, Braden Augustus, a walk-on, was running as the second center. And Brian Kelly explained to you why. So Braylon Moore is your starter. Remember, in spring, Moore would run first team, Chester would run second team. They'd flip. It was back, and those guys are playing center. Braylon Moore is your starter at center, and they are trying to get DJ Chester ready to play left guard. So DJ Chester isn't going to take reps with the first team at left guard and then go right back out there with the second team and play center. They're going to get more guys active. Well, Cohen Eccles is the other center. Well, you heard Brian Kelly say it. Cohen Eccles is battling Josh Thompson for the right guard spot. Josh Thompson, the Northwestern transfer, who, boy, he had a couple of rough moments today. We'll tell you about that in a second. But you're not going to have Cohen Eccles playing center with the second team when he's trying to win the guard spot. So he's going with the second team at guard. So, listen, if they get into a game scenario, and God forbid if something were to happen to Braylon Moore, DJ Chester or Cohen Eccles is going to play center. It's not going to be Braden Augustus, but it goes to show you where the emphasis is. Braylon Moore is your center. You've got DJ Chester and Paul Mabenga battling for the left guard spot. Josh Thompson, Cohen Eccles battling for the right guard spot. Tyree and Weston Davis are your tackles, and behind them are Carius Kern and Bo Bordelon. Like, that's what we know as of right now. Those are your 10 best, and those are the guys that are vying for spots right now. So the starting offensive line left to right is exactly what we thought it would be. Adams, Chester, Moore, Thompson, Davis. They ran the veteran receivers were the first ones out there. Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton, Xavion Thomas. Trey Dez and Bauer Sharp both took reps with the ones. The first thing they did out there with running the first team offense, Bauer Sharp was the first tight end, but there were times the ones out there and it was Trey Dez. So we got to see both those guys run a lot. Caden Durham, Garrett Nussmeier were the quarterback running back combo as expected. Your second team offense left to right was Carius Kern, Paul Mabenga, Braden Augustus, we just explained that. Cohen Eccles at right guard, Bo Bordelon at right tackle. Your second team receivers are Berrien Brown, Kyle Parker, and Destin Hill. By the way, Berrien Brown, I'll tell you about the team period in just a second, but he had, like, whatever Mark Stoops was doing in Lexington to Berrien Brown is coaching malpractice. Like, I cannot believe that guy was so underutilized in Lexington for an offense that was atrocious. Like, play backyard ball, just snap it to him and let him go see what he can do. That would at least be somewhat effective. Anyway, Caleb Jackson, second-team running back. Michael Van Buren, the second-team quarterback, as we all know. On defense, Jack Pyburn, Gabe Relaford were the first-team ends. Ahmad Bro, who switched to number 16, by the way. So we went from 93 to 16. It takes some getting used to. As I do these camp reports, I always jot down numbers instead of names. And so if you've been with us for a while, you know there's going to be a good while where I'm just calling out numbers. But Ahmad Bro, Dom McKinley were the starting interior linemen. West and Whit Weeks were at linebacker. Harold Perkins at star. Your first-team cornerbacks were Mansour Delane, Ashton Stamps. And then your safeties were Tamarcus Cooley and Jordan Gilbert. Remember, Tamarcus Cooley was at LSU in spring. A.J. Halsey was not. A.J. Halsey, the safety transfer from Houston, came in the spring portal. And so A.J. Halsey and Javen Toviano initially were with the second-team defense at safety. Halsey's wearing 13, by the way. And when we're inside, we're up on the catwalk. And so you don't really get a good sense for the size and dimension of these guys. When you're outside, we're field level, standing on the sideline right next to them. A.J. Halsey is a thick dude. Like, that is a dude who we know can turn and run and cover, but my goodness, is he going to be able to help in run defense as well? He is a dude with a thick lower half. Your second defense was Patrick Payton, Jamari Butler at end, Sadir Mitchell, Bernard Gooden at tackle. So, by the way, the four names I just rattled off to you, Payton, Butler, Mitchell, Gooden, 4 transfers. Devon Keys, Charles Ross were your second-team linebackers. Charles Ross, of course, was a freshman who was in studio with us just about a month or so ago. He looks the part, wearing number 30, 6'2", 230 pounds, fills out the uniform. He looks awesome. Tylen Singleton ran at second-team star. He actually came up with a sack. We'll talk more about Tylen Singleton, but my goodness, that's a guy. They have him listed now. He's wearing 46. They have him at 6'1", 226. I don't know what he was listed as a freshman, and I don't know if that 6'1", 226 is accurate. He looks bigger than that. But Tylen Singleton looks like a guy that from year 1 to year 2 has really transformed his body. Looks very good. And then P.J. Woodland and D.J. Pickett were your cornerbacks with the second team. I mentioned Deshaun Spears. He was the odd man out in that first indoor team period with Cooley and Gilbert running with the first team, Toviano, Halsey with the second team. But when they went outside, we saw Spears run both with the ones and the twos. So I think safety, like we talked about, with our sort of big camp storylines, offensive line, safety, probably the two biggest camp storylines. Offensive line, there might be some competition. It feels like, barring something dramatically unforeseen, we know how that's going to be, at least for game 1 against Clemson. Safety feels pretty wide open. And this is a starting point, but they got 5 dudes vying for 2 spots. And it wouldn't surprise me at all how it all shaked out with the 5 guys that they have out there vying for those 2 spots. But we'll continue to follow it through. So that's kind of an overview of how they set up practice and who was with the ones and the twos. Let me break, come back. I'll run through some of the play-by-play of the team drills and some of the eye-popping individual standout performances and some takeaways. Just day one, not overreacting to anything, just passing along what we saw after one day out on the Ponderosa. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of your New Orleans Saints. Of course, LSU. By the way, the new LSU aluminum bottles, the 16-ounce aluminum bottles, they should be on shelves here in another week or so. So excited about it. This was last year's, which is here with us on the set. But the newly designed Bud Light aluminum bottle should be hitting shelves here in another week or two. Can't wait to have it here on set with us to show it, and hopefully to see many of you out and about raising a glass. Of course, tomorrow we'll be doing the show at Court to Table on Burbank. Come out, grab you an ice cold Bud Light, watch the show, hang out, watch the Hall of Fame game as the first NFL preseason game is on Thursday, and we'll look forward to raising an ice cold Bud Light with all of you. This Bud's for you. Cheers, my friends at Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Okay, quick break, come back. I'll continue the fall camp day one practice report, the individual standouts and some of the play-by-play that we saw. That's next here on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. How about the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge? They are just about to celebrate their 100th year since that building opened, a century. It's kind of incredible. This year is the building's centennial. I told you, it's the old Louisiana National Bank building. It was the original high-rise 100 years ago in downtown Baton Rouge. Well, leading up to the centennial celebration in October, they're going to have so much real cool stuff going on. They'll have a Century hotel package. They're going to have other really cool things. They're going to have, like, I don't know how much of this I can tell, but there's going to be really cool giveaways and sort of like Easter egg hunts throughout not literal Easter egg hunts, but like golden tickets throughout the hotel. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to tell you more. If you haven't been inside the Watermark Hotel, you got to. Either to have dinner, have a drink, or to stay the night. It's Watermark Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
It's the first day. We were out there for an hour. Essentially, just so you know where we're at, see this card? This card's got numbers on it, jersey numbers. I'm trying to figure out who's got what jersey on, okay? So you can imagine where I'm at after day one. So, having said that, let's have a conversation that bears that in mind.
A month from now, he still won't know all their names. I mean, it's what it is. But anyway, Brian Kelly, but he's not wrong. Day one, he wasn't, after a 1 hour workout, he wasn't looking forward to getting out there and answering questions about who had a great day and where. It was more big picture stuff going into this season, and I could certainly understand that. If you're just joining us, thanks for being here. It did start the show with a little 10,000-foot view of how the day went, who was lining up where. Everyone's healthy, which is the great news. The only person that's not is freshman offensive lineman Solomon Thomas, but Harold Perkins, Jordan Gilbert, Jacobian Guillory, all no limitation. They were all out there, full speed, no limitations whatsoever, which is great to see. When they went into team periods, y'all, the first team period they ran was indoors. And the offense started at the 10, and it was in every play, no matter the result of the play, they moved the ball 10 yards. So they were running a hurry-up, no huddle, effectively a 2-minute drill. So no matter what happened on the play, they advanced the ball 10 yards. So they were just going right down the field. I'm here to tell you, they didn't need the help. Watching that first series gave me a little bit of a flashback to 2023. Because typically, on the first day, it favors the defense. Offense needs timing and continuity, and there's play call, and there's so much more sequencing and just getting the whole operation together. It's the snap count, it's the effectiveness of the snap, it's the wide receivers running the correct routes, it's the quarterback and receiver having the timing. There's just a lot more that goes into the offense. Defense can play a little more instinctive. So typically, the defense is ahead of the offense. In 2023, I'll never forget it. Watching that first day of fall camp, and I left the practice facility, got my car, and I called into Live at Lunch with Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff. And they wanted a practice report. And I was a little flabbergasted. Be like, guys, I don't think the defense won a rep. And I went back and check your notes, and the offense, it didn't matter. Those receivers were winning every rep. And it was bad. Like, the defense couldn't get a stop. And so we're all wondering, well, is the offense really this good, or is the defense this bad? And the answer was yes. I mean, it ended up being literally the number one offense in the country. It was Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. I mean, they were incredible. Mason Taylor, they were awesome. And then, I thought you were trying.
Mason Taylor!
But then the defense was atrocious as well. On the first series of team drills inside, Caden Durham ran it. They threw a screen pass to Caden Durham. He ran again on a zone read. The fourth play, Xavion Thomas on the left sideline on a stop route, gets about 10 yards. He beats Mansour Delane. Great job coming back to the ball, making a catch in traffic. They ran a middle screen to Bauer Sharp, who was crossing over from right to left. On the sixth play, they're at the 40-yard line, on the plus 40. On the sixth play, Nuss, hard count, defense jumps. He's got a free play. Barry and Brown, right side, go route. Burns, Ashton Stamps. Had him beat by 2-3 yards. Nuss drops it in a bucket. Touchdown. Brown fires the ball against the padding in the end zone, kind of giving a flex. And I thought to myself immediately, what the hell was Mark Stoops doing with this guy? I mean, that's Ashton Stamps, who's about to be a 3-year starter. Dude, on his first day, is dusting a veteran corner from LSU. I mean, it was something to behold, that first series. It was jarring to see just how effective and efficient the offense right down the field. Then the twos went out there. and the whole script flipped. The second defense overwhelmed the second offense. Tylen Singleton had a sack. Patrick Payton had a sack. They had a pressure on Van Buren, so he just dropped the ball over the middle, incomplete. He had another throwaway because of pressure. They after 6 plays with Van Buren, they put Colin Hurley in for 2 plays, and on back-to-back plays, he threw balls to defenders that were nearly intercepted. P.J. Woodland dropped an interception when he jumped a screen intended for J.T. Lindsey, and then DJ Pickett dropped an interception on the next play. I didn't jot down who the ball was intended for. Like, the second defense overwhelmed the second offense, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. You look at that second defense and you go, okay, well, there's Patrick Payton, who's played 4 years of football. Jamari Butler, who's a 6th-year senior who spent 5 years in the Big Ten going against true freshman Karius Kern. Like Sadir Mitchell and Bernard Gooden on the interior of that defensive line. You got Woodland and Pickett out there on the boundaries. Toviano and Halsey were your safeties. Halsey was all conference last year in the Big 12. Like, that second defense overwhelmed the second offense, which makes you feel really good about the depth on this defense, because there's good players on that offense. The depth on the defense. So they go outside, and they're running, I guess it maybe should have been like a 7-on-7, but really was a 5-on-7. Later, the offense added another player, so it was 6-on-7. But effectively, the defense had numbers. This is a drill designed to benefit the defense. It's just quarterback and skill guys against linebacker secondary. There's no linemen. Nuss started 7 for 7. It was something to see. He threw a couple of completions to Destin Hill, one over the middle. Destin Hill catches the ball with Ashton Stamps in coverage. And they're both standing. And it was tight coverage. And Stamps is trying to swipe the ball. And Destin Hill just one arm with the ball, one arm like just shoves Ashton Stamps to the ground. Like, I know we're not talking about Destin Hill, but Destin Hill is this year's C.J. Daniels. They love him. He's physical. He can block. He'll catch the ball in traffic. He's not going to be your home run hitter, but he's got great hands. He catches the ball. He's physical. He'll block. Like, Destin Hill's going to play. He's wearing number 2, by the way. Like, Destin Hill is going to play on this team. You might say, why? It's going to happen. Like, people go, why is Destin Hill on the field and not Nick Anderson or Barry Amber, who fill in the amazing receiver? And that's why. They're all going to get reps, but that dude is going to play. Destin Hill also had a one-handed catch on the sideline. Elevated one-handed catch through traffic. It was a really impressive day. And so the offense continues overwhelming the defense. The ones are just dominating. Then they go back to an 11-on-11 period. And it was so encouraging because in this outdoor 11-on-11 period, that defense finally showed up in a major way outdoors. Patrick Payton had a TFL on Caden Durham. Patrick Payton went and worked with the ones in the second unit. Gabe Relaford had a sack. I mentioned earlier Josh Thompson having a little bit of a tough go. On back-to-back plays, Bernard Gooden, the transfer from South Florida, blew through Josh Thompson like a turnstile and got sacks on consecutive plays. Jamari Butler had a sack in this period. What else did I note? Beautiful catch by Kyle Parker with Tamarcus Cooley in coverage. Now, Jamari Butler was pressuring on that play, and he was with the ones in this series as well. Might have been a sack if they were actually tackling. It was close, or at least would have affected the pass if it was live. But in any event, it was a catch by Kyle Parker. The play of the day might have actually been Teron Francis. Teron Francis caught a ball down the left sideline with DJ Pickett draped around him like a freaking octopus. And, I mean, in traffic, and he came up with the ball, oohs and ahs all over the field. And I'm looking at this going, that's incredible coming from a guy who's not going to play a snap this year. That's the biggest takeaway, is how deep they are at receiver. And we've seen great receiving core. Newsflash, LSU has good receivers. But I'm going, I've just told you about Aaron Anderson and Chris Hilton and Xavion Thomas and Barian Brown and Nick Anderson and Destin Hill. Oh, by the way, Bauer Sharp, Trey'Dez Green. That's 8 guys. And I haven't even talked about Kylan Billiot, Jelani Watkins, Kyle Parker, the incumbents, before you get to Francis, who's the number 11 on that list. All that to say, I think Teron Francis may be a fantastic receiver. He's just not going to play this year. There's just way too much depth ahead of him at receiver. And it is just really, really impressive. Keelan Moses had a great pass breakup, playing in the star position. Would have been a pick six. He jumped a route, hit him in the face mask. He just didn't catch it. Would have been a pick six on the last play. I will say the one part about maybe if we're looking at the line of scrimmage, some of those sacks and things like that, it is fair. Our biggest question is the offensive line, right? And when you're looking at the two deep at end, you're talking about Relaford and Pyburn and Butler and Payton, and they're talented and veteran and really good. But they don't have pads on yet. So I'm going to reserve judgment on the offensive line with some of that stuff until they put on pads. And it is worth noting when they were indoors, nobody touched us. When they went outdoors, both were 11-on-11 periods. It's just the two 11-on-11 periods we saw. The offense had the upper hand in the first one. The defense had the upper hand in the second one. But we'll know much more about it when they put on pads and we can see more. But it was super encouraging to see. Just think about the names that I've mentioned to you here so far in this report. Barian Brown, Bernard Gooden, Patrick Payton, Jamari Butler. You noticing a trend? Bauer Sharp. You noticing a trend? They're all transfers. Destin Hill. They're all transfers. I mean, the transfer portal class showed up in a major way on day one to make their presence felt. LSU went invested in great players. And on day one, you could see it. They've got talent on the two deep on both sides of the ball. And this team is going to be really, really, really talented. They got a couple of weeks here of fall camp to put it all together before they turn the page to start getting ready for Clemson in the opener. And Brian Kelly's talked about it. Look, we're in the indoor. I don't know if you've never been in the LSU indoor facility on one of the sidelines, there's a giant screen. It's got to be 20 yards long. It's a giant, giant screen. And on that screen, it just has a gigantic 1-0 with the Tiger logo in the middle. It's just 1-0. 1-0 is what they're preaching everywhere, all along. They're not hiding from it. And today was a good first step. They'll be back on the practice field on Thursday with media availability. No media availability Friday, and then they're back on the practice field again Saturday, and we get to watch the full practice on Saturday. So we'll have practice reports. As long as LSU's out on the field and they let us watch, we'll tell you what we see. All right, brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. It's South Point Volkswagen. Look, I drove to Houston on Monday, did the show in Houston. Tuesday, woke up at 6 in the morning, got right back in my Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport, drove right back to Baton Rouge. On the open road, drives great gas mileage, and the safety features. All the safety features you could possibly want. Safest vehicles on the road. And when you buy from South Point Volkswagen, you get the comfort of knowing you're driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. You also know you're getting the great German engineering, so all the performance. They're manufactured here in the U.S. of A. at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. And because South Point Volkswagen is Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, they sell more Volkswagens than anyone. They can give you a better deal than anyone. Like right now, 2025 Tiguan S for $299 a month on that 36-month lease. You can learn more right now at southpointvw.com. southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, glad to have you hanging out with us here. If you've got questions, if there's anything I haven't addressed, feel free to fire away. Email me, tweet me, text me. You can text the show in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. Feel free to do that. Cat Terrell's here in 45 minutes. The Saints are back on the practice field again today. They did add a veteran offensive lineman. We'll talk a little bit about him coming up in 15 minutes from right now. And we've got plenty to talk about. I want to sort of recap and reset everything Brian Kelly talked about after practice, so we'll sprinkle that in. It's just like a wall-to-wall football day, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After further review.
If you're thinking of a pool, think no further than Duplessis Builders. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. I've sung their praises for so long, but third-party validation sometimes can be the most powerful validation. And Pool & Spa Magazine voted Duplessis Builders a top 50 pool builder in America this year. They came in at number 26 on the list. No other company in Louisiana higher than Duplessis Builders, number 26 in the country. And it's not just because they build beautiful pools. There are a lot of companies that build beautiful pools and have for a long time. There are a lot of great designers. The difference with Duplessis is that Derek Duplessis has an engineering background and they do not rush the process. He's very upfront. You can expect a 2-month-long process. Concept, the dig, spraying the concrete, letting it settle, all of it to the finishes, because they're never going to skip a step. That's why they can offer you a 10-year workmanship warranty. Learn more online, DuplessisBuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Value Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We didn't come here to just compete. We came here to win conference and national championships.
That is a now former LSU Chief Operating Officer Kelly Zinn, who is now Rutgers Athletic Director Kelly Zinn. Kelly Zinn was introduced on Wednesday out at Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, as their new athletics director. We had reported over the weekend. NJ.com was the first to report it, to be very clear, that they had targeted Kelly Zinn and that was going to get done. But we had it over Louisiana Sports.net over the weekend. It looked like Kelly Zinn was, in fact, in line to become the athletics director at Rutgers. And today she was introduced. Of course, as we explained, William Tate, the former LSU president who left for the same job at Rutgers, is the one who now hired Kelly Zinn as the new athletics director. So that familiarity was there. This was William Tate at the introductory press conference with Kelly Zinn.
I think we have one of the most talented athletic administrators in the United States who has joined us. One of the things that's extremely important with the athletic director and the president is trust. And you don't often get an opportunity to have already had it established. What unfolded during the process was that it was feasible to find someone who had generated significant revenue at a very high level in that past job. And I think that matched the job description that was put out. But simultaneously, that person had tremendous operational expertise. And so when you can marry the revenue generation component and the operational expertise at the highest level of power conferences, and you can get that person to actually join your team, that's called a big win.
Yeah, don't miss the part that he talked about there. That was a giant part of Kelly's job as the COO at LSU, was revenue generation in the new revenue share era. We explained this a little bit, but that was her job. Remember, we said this over and over again, but everyone just had $20.5 million expense added to their balance sheet to pay the players. So to be able to do that, you got to do two things. You got to decrease expenses and increase revenue. So, I mean, decreasing expenses, we've talked plenty about how that's going to go about, but you don't just find $20 million in revenue. You got to get creative in the way you do that. That's largely what Kelly was charged with at LSU, along with also being the operator, the administrative operator for gymnastics and football, overseeing those two sports primarily. She's dynamic and she's awesome. I mean, it's rare that you get someone who speaks so who people speak so universally highly of and is universally respected. That's Kelly. So it was only a matter of time before she got this opportunity. And she actually, in her introductory press conference, was asked about finally getting an opportunity now, in her mid-40s, after being at Maryland and West Virginia, now LSU as the CEO, finally getting the opportunity. She was passed over at Georgia Tech for the job, but now finally getting the opportunity to be an AD.
This has been a goal of mine for many times. You'll hear my husband say she's been an assistant coach for 25 years. She was ready to be the head coach, and he gave me this opportunity. And that's something that I will never, ever take for granted. And I just thank him dearly for putting me up here and giving us this chance to come together again and accomplish excellence.
So Kelly Zinn introduced as new athletics director at Rutgers. That is a tough job. There's no way around it. There is just no history anyway. Well, it's odd because they actually have the oldest history. The first ever college football game was played at Rutgers in 1865, whatever, 1860, whatever it was. The first ever. So they call it the birthplace of college football. If you go to at their stadium there, you walk under an archway, it says, Rutgers, the birthplace of college football. But subsequent to that, they have no history. You could make an argument, a very strong argument, that Rutgers is the worst Power 4 college football program in the country. Historically, the lack of success, all of it. So that's a challenge, and then they just aren't very competitive in the other major sports as well. So a very difficult job that Kelly Zinn is taking on. It's not like walking into an SEC job. She applied, was a finalist for the Georgia Tech job. They went a different direction. But she is an AD now at Rutgers, and wish her well. But the bigger question here locally, of course, is now LSU's got to replace Kelly Zinn. So what do they do in that role? It'll be interesting to see what direction Scott Woodward goes. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. If you're making a couple weeks before the kiddos get back to school, if you're making that final road trip, that last-ditch road trip, that last little getaway vacay before the kiddos get back to school, make sure you bring your vehicle to Shawbills. One more jaunt to the beach or maybe over to Texas, up to the mountains in Tennessee, wherever you're going. Disney, make sure your car is safe. It'll get you there. And your tires are good and tip-top shape and ready to go, Shawbills can make that happen. They've been doing it since 1968. When you buy tires at Shawbills, you're going to get name-brand tires at wholesale prices, and they're going to treat you like family to keep you coming back year after year after year. So if you need your oil change, your tires rotated, Your windshield wipers replaced, brakes are squeaking, whatever the case may be. Check engine lights on. Something's going on with your vehicle. Get it to Shaw Bills. They'll treat you great. They'll take care of it. It's at Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Redshirt senior linebacker Deontay Lawson returned to practice for the first day of camp on Wednesday. He'd been out since an ACL injury in November. He was wearing a right knee brace during drills, but was out there, which was great to see for the Crimson Tide. Senior had 76 tackles, 6.5 for loss, 2 sacks last year before the injury.
The Auburn Tigers.
Hugh Freeze has updated Malcolm Simmons' status following his domestic violence arrest here at the start of fall camp. He is not available right now. I'm sorry, he is available. Remember, he was arrested and charged with domestic assault with strangulation or suffocation back in mid-July. But apparently, pretty good player, so no worries. Let him get out there and play. So all of the preliminary hearings been moved up. It was scheduled for August the 13th. Now it'll take place 5 days earlier. So Malcolm Simmons will be back there with Auburn. Amazing contrast to the Trey Holly situation. He's been waiting a year and a half for his day in court.
The Florida Gators.
Asa Turner suffered a season-ending hamstring injury in November. In the opener against Miami last year. Just hasn't been able to get healthy since. Billy Napier confirmed Turner will retire from football after battling those injuries for 3 years. He was a standout at Washington, the University of Washington, on their runner-up team. After that, Kalen DeBoer left, Asa Turner left, and went down to Florida. Just hasn't been able to get healthy. Is now retiring from football.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Hogs are going to honor Darren McFadden with a jersey patch and retire his number 5. No way to do it. The only other retired numbers are Clyde Scott's number 12 and Brandon Burlsworth's number 77. So McFadden's 5 will be honored in Reynolds Razorback Stadium as well. Of course, Darren McFadden, a 2-time Heisman runner-up, finished with 4,590 rushing yards and a school record 41 touchdowns.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
And Wesley Mallette has been named the new Deputy Athletics Director and Chief Marketing Officer for Gamecocks Athletics. The announcement came here this week. He had previously been at the University of California, Riverside, where he had most recently been the school's athletic director. So from small school AD to Power 5 Deputy AD, trying to generate new revenue and strategic communications there in Columbia. All right, there you have it. There is Around the SEC. Our Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Hormone replacement therapy, that's part of what they do. ED treatments, of course, part of what they do over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, but only part of what they do. Men, young or old, if you want to regain that vitality safely, affordably, they can help you do it at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Ask about NAD Plus therapy, literally making your cellular biology younger. Ask about things like BPC 157, body protection compound 157. The more and more you hear about it, research being done on BPC 157, aiding in recovery. If you have injuries you're trying to recover from, pain that's persistent, BPC 157 could be a miracle for you. These peptides are incredible. You can learn more about them. They're affordable. They're safe. They're available at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Yourgoodwood.com. Visit yourgoodwood.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here on this Hump Day edition. We'll knock out a quick break. Kat Terrell will be here in about 45 minutes from right now. About 30 minutes from right now. We'll ask her about this. The Saints did sign an offensive lineman who was at practice today. We'll tell you about him next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Glow Resources, complete employer solutions. I say it that way. They for a long time over at Glow, their slogan was complete employee solutions. And about a year ago or so, they changed it. Maybe it's been a couple of years now. I don't know. Time runs together. Because as they really started to examine what that meant, really what they're offering are solutions for you, the employer, you, the business owner, you, the operations manager, you, the VP of personnel, whatever it may be. If your job is to find people in your business to make you more efficient and you're having trouble finding skilled blue-collar workers, maybe people that meet the criteria you need, either as far as certifications or just reliability. Maybe you're having trouble finding C-level management. Maybe you just can't find that right candidate or client. Glow Resources can help. Visit them online at glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 7.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
The Saints have announced the addition on the offensive line. They've agreed to terms with offensive tackle Jonathan Mendoza. This is an interesting one because he began his career in the Ivy League at Yale. Before transferring and finishing his career at Louisville, where he played with Tyler Shuck. So he's a big 6'9" offensive tackle. This is the corresponding move that the Saints made with letting another one of their offensive linemen go earlier in the week. A 6'9", 310. He's an undrafted free agent. Again, played collegiately for 5 seasons with Yale, and then a graduate season with Louisville in 2024, and now is rejoining his college teammate Tyler Shuck in New Orleans with the Saints. Kellen Moore, the Saints hosted like 9 players for workouts, some offensive linemen, some punters, and Kellen Moore after practice on Wednesday talked about hosting those workouts.
Through this process, you're always trying to work multiple guys out just to put yourself in position if something were to happen, if you need to make a transition or, we'll see what happens. So we had a couple punters, a couple offensive linemen, a couple linebackers. So we're always kind of doing that throughout training camp.
You know, it's interesting whenever you look at a 53-man roster, you're going to keep 8 or 9 offensive linemen. So you know you're going to have your starting 5, and then typically you're going to want a center, an interior lineman, and a tackle. And the more versatile a player, the better, because they could play multiple spots. It's why a guy like Will Clapp is so valuable. It's why Will Clapp will stay in the NFL for a long time, because while he may not be an all-pro or Pro Bowl caliber center or guard, he isn't a capable starting NFL center or guard. So and he's a very smart player as well, with great experience. And having been with the Chargers with Kellen Moore, he knows what Kellen Moore expects in the offense. So it's one of those things where if, God forbid, something were to happen to Eric McCoy, Will Clapp could step in and play center. Or if Cesar Ruiz goes down, Will Clapp could step in and play guard. So the more versatile you are, that's why guys like Andres Pete were so valuable. He was your starting left guard, but he could also play left or right tackle. Senio Clemente, if you remember him with the New Orleans Saints, he was such a valuable guy because he could play left tackle or he could play any of 4 spots on the offensive line in a pinch. So those guys are really valuable. I just look at the Saints. You know who your starting 5 are already. Those backup spots are, like, when you look at a guy like Dylan Radins, who's played a ton of football, you got to believe Dylan Radins is ultimately going to win one of those spots. Will Clapp, who I just mentioned, I think is probably going to win another. So that leaves really only maybe one more spot on the offensive line, maybe 2 on the 53-man roster. So it is a real stretch to assume that, this signing today is going to be of any consequence, long-term, to think that you might actually have someone who makes the team. But, Jonathan Mendoza, but a guy maybe who has some comfort and familiarity with Tyler Shuck, and probably nothing more than a camp body at this point. But Saints did make it official. They've added Jonathan Mendoza on the offensive line to the roster. All right, we're not going to break. SportsCenter's coming up. Notre Dame's AD has weighed in on the college football playoff convo.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Of course, if you're watching any of the practice highlights of Saints practice, or if you're getting down to New Orleans to watch Saints practice, you'll see on the Saints practice jerseys, they've got the Rouse's patch. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, and not just the official supermarket of the Saints. They've been voted by you the best supermarket in the best of 225 in Baton Rouge, and they've been voted the best supermarket in the entire Gulf South. They've got 70 different locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, and they have maintained, through its 65 years, they've maintained their local ownership. They are still owned by the Rouse family. And I can't speak highly enough of Rouse's and all the engagements and interactions that we've been able to have with them over the many years of our partnership, and hopeful for many, many more. The truckload sale's going on right now through August the 6th. Always a great time to shop and save at Rouse's. So do it right now with the truckload sale at Rouse's. This feels like home.
Value Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business. Internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies. We've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability. Because your well-being is more than a priority, it's our purpose.
I'm Christine Lisi. Bengals All-Pro defensive end Trey Hendrickson ended his holdout and reported to training camp today, indicated he doesn't plan on participating until he gets a contract extension. Regarding negotiations, Hendrickson told reporters, everything's the same. ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick.
This is an easy contract to do. This should be figured out. I just don't understand these types of things. It's hard enough to build a football team, but with premium players that are premium people that have produced for you in the past and are going to produce for you in the future, this is easy.
The holdup in negotiations, guaranteed money. Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely will undergo surgery for a small fracture in his left foot. He'll be out about 6 weeks. Ahead of tomorrow's MLB trade deadline, the Mets acquiring righty Tyler Rogers from the Giants for righty Jose Budo and 2 prospects. Blue Jays snapped a 4-game losing streak, defeated the Orioles 9-8. Tigers took care of the Diamondbacks 7-2. Detroit and Toronto tied for the top spot in the American League. Cubs beat the Brewers 10-3. Chicago's 2 back of NL Central leading Milwaukee.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, Justin Jefferson said we'll need to be patient with J.J. McCarthy. I'll tell you why the Vikings won't have that luxury. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Goodwood and Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Kat Terrell in about 13 minutes from right now. She was at Saints camp today. She'll be here in just a smidge to tell us what she saw and what we need to know. One of the topics, and we're like all football today. I spent the first half of hour 1 going through my notes from day 1 of LSU camp. If you missed that, you can catch it on demand. Of course, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. It'll be on podcast or YouTube. Just search AFR LSU. Podcast or YouTube, just search AFR LSU, and you'll see it there. One of the things that over the next month is going to be very significant in the world of college football is deciding what the future playoff format will be. Do they go to 16? If the answer is yes, what is the format? Is it the 4-4-2-2 179er model? Is it the 511, 5 auto bids, the 11 at large? Maybe something really cool we haven't even seen yet. I don't know. Or do they just stay at 12 teams, which are all options? And we're starting to see everybody, throughout media days, this was a very common talking point among all the conference commissioners, is them effectively throwing their hat in the ring for what they are lobbying for. Tony Petitti, the Big Ten, they want the 4-4-1, 4-4-2-2-1, blah, 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 where the SEC and the Big Ten are guaranteed 4, ACC Big 12 guaranteed 2, and then you'll have 3 at-large spots. That's what the Big Ten wants. They've even thrown out that cockamamie scheme where not only do you get the 4 at-large, the 4 automatic bids, like for the Big Ten, the SEC, but they would play in for those spots. Like 1 and 2 would be in, 3 would play 6, 4 would play 5 to play in for the final 2 spots. Like they're trying to get tons of teams involved in for those spots. Greg Sankey has talked about this was at SEC Media Days. Greg Sankey talking about his opinion for what the SEC wants on expansion.
So I'm on record of participating in a decision process that 12 was the right direction. I've always been a fan of there are no allocations. Like take the top 8 back in 2019 when people were talking about expanding. Take the top 12. I was an advocate for that. And I could take the top 14, top 16. We have agreed, and I think last week there was some misunderstanding communicated about a memorandum of understanding. So in that memorandum of understanding, the top 5 conference champions have a role. Unless you're going to go tear up the MOU, which maybe some other people want to do because of their concerns about the decision-making authority, but unless people want to tear it up, we're going to have 5+7, 5+9, 5+11.
Greg Sankey, in no uncertain terms, is saying, like, the 5 auto bids is where we're staying. But Tony Petitti has been very adamant that he wants to expand that to where, and by the way, the 5 auto bids means the 1 per conference. The Power 4 and then a G5. You'd have the top 5 conference champions, then 11 at-large bids. The Big Ten wants a different model. The problem here is the SEC and the Big Ten have to agree. I mean, in my long sit-down conversation for nearly 20 minutes with Greg Sankey Media Days, I asked him his question. He kind of elaborated on it, but effectively, the SEC and the Big Ten, like, they hold all the cards together, and they have to be in agreement to move forward, because if they don't agree, if the SEC and the Big Ten don't agree, there is no deal to be done, because college football is not moving forward without the SEC, and college football is not moving forward without the Big Ten. So they have to see eye to eye, but right now you have the commissioners of those two leagues that do not see eye to eye. So, and both have said they feel like they're on very solid footing. The Big Ten's won the last 2 national championships, but Greg Sankey said we feel like we got a strong hand that we're holding. So it's this real weird impasse, but ultimately all these leagues are going to have a vote, including the Notre Dame athletic director, as you'll have the 10, FBS conference commissioners and Notre Dame athletic director Pete Bevecka. So Pete Bevecka tells The Athletic in an interview that he is against the idea for the Big Ten and the SEC getting more auto bids to a 16-team playoff. He is against the Big Ten's proposal. He is in line with the SEC, the 5+11 model. So you're starting to line up a lot of these decision makers who are siding with Greg Sankey, the 5+11. But ultimately, it makes sense why Notre Dame wants the 5+11, because that's 5 conference champs and then 11 at-large spots. Remember, Notre Dame's not in a conference. You know this. But if they go to the 4-4-2-2-1-1-1 model, that means there's only 3 at-large spots. You'd have 4 from the SEC, 4 from the Big Ten, 2 from the ACC, 2 from the Big 12, and then 3 at-large spots. Notre Dame would have to be one of 3 at-large spots. In the 5-11, Notre Dame would have to be one of 11 at-large spots. There's a much greater chance of Notre Dame having access to the playoff in a 5-11 as opposed to a 4-4-2-2-1-1-1. So, again, this isn't about what's best for college football. This is every conference administrator looking for what's best for my conference and the schools I represent. That is the inherent problem we have always had with college football, by the way. And I don't need to go on a rant. You all know how I feel about this. But it is ultimately the problem because you don't have one singular entity. You have 10 different entities with a commissioner all lobbying for their school's best interests. It's not like the 32 NFL owners that all have a very common goal because they all share in the same pot of revenue. And it doesn't matter if you're the Dallas Cowboys, the New Orleans Saints, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Buffalo Bills, the Green Bay Packers. All of that revenue is shared among the owners. It's one NFL. In college, the SEC makes more money. The Big Ten makes more money. The ACC is less. The Big 12 is less. They're all competing against each other in theory, but it's not equal. So everybody is looking out for their own best interest, not the least of which is Notre Dame, which chooses to remain independent. So I think the real question here is two parts. One is, does ultimately the weight of the SEC, Notre Dame, and all the other leagues going against the Big Ten force the Big Ten to their side of the equation so that college football can have progress, or does the Big Ten stand as at an impasse and we just stay at 12? That's one thing that could happen. That's one thing worth watching. The other is, be careful what you wish for. So I said this a year ago. When everybody last year, the beautiful thing about the digital era, everything's recorded. As we're expanding the playoff and everyone's making predictions, the SEC is going to get 5, 6, 7, is the SEC going to get 7 teams? I was like, y'all, look at history. So I went back and looked at every year dating back to 2014, the first year of the 14 playoff, and said, all right, still a committee, same thing. And if we had just exactly like we have now, and you go to the penultimate rankings, like before the championship, before the playoff started, how many SEC teams would have gotten in? It was like 2 years. They would have gotten 3. 2 years, or the majority of the, or more than 3. Most of the years have been 3. 1 year they got 2. So be careful what you wish for. Like, it's not like you're just automatically going to be gifted these spots because our perception is the SEC is awesome. I mean, the results are what they are. I mean, just for instance, if you were to expand this, I'll do this exercise again. If you were to expand to 16, in 2024, the SEC would have gotten 6 teams. Now, keep in mind, that was the first year of the expanded SEC with Texas and OU. But in 2024, you would have gotten 6. In 2023, you would have gotten 5. In 2022, you would have gotten 3. In 2021, you would have gotten 3. In 2020, you would have gotten 4. 2019, you would have gotten 5. Do you understand my point? Like, if you just think, expand it to 16 and have 11 at-large spots because the SEC is going to make up half the field, Jack, no, they're not. The past decade. Go back a decade. That hasn't happened. Like, you're more likely to get less than 5 than you are. It's happened one time you would have gotten more than 5, and it was this most recent year. So I think the Big Ten actually has a little bit of an idea. Guarantee yourself the 4 spots. Now, I don't think this is what's best for college football, to be honest. I think we should have no guaranteed spots at all for anything. It should just be the 16 top teams that get into a playoff where one plays 16 and so on. I think we should do 32, but we got to 4. We might get to 16. I won't get greedy. We'll get there eventually. But I do think what would be best is for college football is more at large spots. Have it be an actual meritocracy. But from the SEC's very selfish perspective, history tells you don't want more at large. You want your guaranteed spots, get your 4 guaranteed, and then you still got 3 at large spots on the back end, and maybe you get 1, 2, or all 3 of those. Who knows? But you let that play itself out. But Notre Dame, they've drawn their line in the sand, or at least tossed their hat in the ring, and they're siding with the 5+11 model, which should come as no surprise. As this evolves and develops, we'll certainly keep you posted. We're brought to you by Evamor, EVA-MOR. Being out at the Ponderosa today when it was 100 degrees at 10 in the morning. I'm not complaining, by the way. Certainly helpful. Down a big old bottle of Evamor before I went out there and got this big 64-ounce bottle for after. Better stay hydrated, y'all. It's hot outside. Make sure you have plenty of Evamor. It's a better form of hydration, and it's a natural artesian water. It's a Louisiana product. The well is on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain in Covington. The plant, the bottling facility, is built right around the well. Like when you turn off the main road into the facility, You see the well right there. As you drive up to the facility, they pipe the water out. The only thing that's filtered out is the sediment from the ground, goes right into the bottle, never touches air until you take the first delicious sip. This is true natural hydration. Check it out, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. All right, Saints are back on the practice field earlier today. Kat Terrell was there. She'll join us next. We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. Stay here.
AFR.
Our friends over at Action Industries do amazing work. You know this if you work in the plants. There are two things that are absolute must prerequisites. Like, you do not get hired inside the fence if you don't have a great safety record and you do great work. Action Industries, their safety record beats the industry standard. And when you rely on repeat business, you have to do great work to get rehired. Well, Action Industries has been around since 1982, 43 years, because they do exemplary work. Listen, sometimes maybe you feel like your job isn't prioritized at Action Industries. You get their absolute best. Sometimes maybe you have a mega project going on, and some of the mega contractors are short on numbers. Action can actually help supplement that workforce. Check them out today. It's Action Industries. They're a proud partner of LSU Athletics.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Parish Construction and Roofing. This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Saints are back on the practice field in full pads. on Wednesday. Kat Terrell was there, of course, ESPN.com, NFL Nation reporter covering the Saints. Good enough to hang out with us for a couple of minutes. Hey, Kat, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to power through training camp, but I'm doing okay.
Well, it's interesting when you get to the point where the initial excitement of training camp sort of wanes and you get into the monotonous grind. And I think that it's very clearly something every coach wants to do to prepare their team for the season. It's been an ease into camp, as best I can tell from a distance. Are they still in that phase, Kat, right now, or are they starting to crank up intensity?
Yeah, I definitely noticed that they've cranked up the intensity the last few days, but I think that just comes with putting the pads on. It changes things. I do think it's definitely a different type of training camp than I've seen in the past because there's so much focus on recovery and preventing injuries that it's kind of like you said, it has felt like a slower start, but the players seem to love that.
Sure.
I'm not surprised they love it, but, Godchild was talking about it yesterday, and he's a 9-year vet and said this is the best training camp I've been a part of. So I guess what I'm trying to say is Moore seems to know how to keep the players happy so far, and that'll get them far through camp. But, I mean, it's going to be hard. There's just, no really getting around the dog days of summer.
Kat, and it's fair to mention, Kat, aside from covering the Saints, you also spent time covering the Cincinnati Bengals. You've covered training camp practices, joint practices throughout. Can you speak to what you perceive to be the value of the hard grind training camp and how other teams do it, maybe to take it a little easier? If there is a benefit or not to how you structure camp?
It's hard to say, honestly, because I do think that there was a time and place for these really, really hard camps and two-a-days and full pads and making the team tougher. Obviously, the 2006 Saints are a great example of that. I'm sure most of them will tell you that 2006 camp was the hardest thing they ever went through, but you can't do that anymore. So when you have to swing so far the other direction because of the CBA and because of NFL rules, it kind of makes sense that you would try something different. They're really into sports science. I'm sure you've heard about this. I'm sure you've talked about it on the radio a lot. And so I think Kellen Moore is kind of following what Ted Rath tells him or advises him to do in terms of recovery. But I get it for this team because they were one of the most injury-bitten teams in the league last year. And so it makes sense that they would be all out on how do we prevent that from ever happening again.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. I mean, we'll see the results, I guess, in a few months because truth be told, there's some injuries you just can't prevent. Some of it's just luck. So I truly don't know if this is going to help or in a few months if we're going to be thinking, well, maybe they should have had more reps in camp,
She's on Twitter at @Kat_Terrell. Give her a follow. Kat, is there a little more than a week now, is there a position group you think that appears maybe to have solidified themselves as the strongest unit on this team?
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like I've been so quarterback focused.
Yeah.
It's hard to even give you an answer. I think, this is not an answer to the question. I think there have been a lot of impressive moments from the defensive line the last few days, which is a positive because that is not a position I would say I feel is the strongest on the team. There's a lot of concerns about that one for me, so that's kind of a pleasant surprise. I think the offensive line has quietly been consistent and gelled together, which they need to do. I know I'm just going through positions because this team, there's really no standout position. It used to be years ago, the offensive line for sure, but they can't say that anymore. So that's a tough one. I don't think there's really a standout yet.
Let me ask you a specific position group then. Let me ask you about receiver because I feel like I see a lot of highlights from Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave's back, two guys that were injured and missed the bulk of last year, and that was a giant weakness a season ago because of the injuries. How do you think guys like Olave and Shaheed and the rest of that group, and who else has stood out after those guys so far?
It's really just them, and then Brandon Cooks is the third guy, right? And he has his own injury issues that he's dealt with. So I'm not going to lie and say that's not concerning for that position. I do think it's concerning. And I do think there are real questions about how Olave and Shaheed will hold up during the season. I mean, I know Shaheed said he put on weight. That I feel like I'm just being negative, but then that kind of automatically raises the question in your mind, okay, if you put on weight, are you purposely, obviously, are you the same receiver you were last year?
Sure.
I think he looks very good so far. There actually was a good moment in camp, coming from someone who had been hurt last year. He caught a pass from Tyler Shuck. It was kind of a high pass near the sideline. He just got whacked immediately and fell over. And the wide receivers coach immediately was like, that's why he has pads on. I mean, he popped back up and it was all fine. Don't know if that's necessarily what you want to see in camp. One of your most valuable players getting sent to the ground. But, the fact that he popped back up and it was like, okay, he's good. And he also, I think he had a tough catch later on that same practice. So, if those two can stay healthy, then I think it's not a concern. But, that's so many ifs, right?
Kat, it's interesting because you're right. So much of the conversation is around quarterback, and I totally understand that. And even the offensive line, because you have so much draft capital invested there. But, my eyes shift toward things like cornerback, where that was so solidified for so long. You knew Lattimore and Adebo, and those guys were there, and it was locked in. And you drafted Alontae Taylor. Now all those guys are gone, and it's is it Kool-Aid McKinstry and question mark? Have we learned anything about the cornerbacks yet?
It's McKinstry. It's Isaac Yiadom. It's Alontae Taylor. I mean, that's probably your three guys right there. I think the rookie, Quincy O'Reilly, has made a lot of nice plays. That's not, that means he's going to go into the season and be great. But I do think he's caught my eye, so that is a positive. But I think with Taylor, he can be so good and also just so up and down. And part of that, I blame the coaching staff the last few years for moving him constantly. He was, the first few years of his career, he was always moving positions. And that's hard to get settled and really become good at what you're doing if you don't know what you're doing from week to week. So I think that, the guy's really talented. And, if he lives up to his potential and so is McKinstry, then it's kind of the same thing I was saying as the receivers. Then they'll be okay. But, there are some ifs there. But I do like the addition of Justin Reed. I do think that was a good addition. And so it seems like quietly people haven't been talking about the safeties that much, surprisingly, since Matthew retired.
Well, there's Reed, and they also added Blackman, who I think is he
was hurt last year.
Is he a plug-and-play starter opposite Justin Reed? I mean, is that settled? Those two guys are going to be your starters?
Yeah, I absolutely think Blackman's going to be starting next to him.
Okay.
He talked to us the other day and said, yeah, I didn't have a great year last year. He was hurt. And Brandon Staley has been wanting to sign this guy forever. Also, oh my gosh, I keep getting worried that I'm going to say Justin instead of Julian because of Justin Reed right next to him. So if I do say that, please correct me. It's my training camp brain.
It's all good.
That is not all there right now.
I just chart numbers. I just chart numbers, Kat. I'm just I'm jotting jersey numbers down.
You're like Sean Payton.
Yeah,
he needed to be told the number at this time of the year.
86 made a nice play. That's it, really.
Yes. Sometimes he'd be like, can you give me that number, please? Because he just said the name. Yeah. Sometimes when he tried to act like he knew who you were talking about, and that was even worse. Just keep a track of 90 guys. It makes for some funny moments during camp.
Ask Sean Payton. With Saints will play the Broncos in the third preseason game. Pop into that press conference. Say Sean, what'd you think about 72 today? How did he just drop a number on him? See what he says.
Let's just pop in, just ask about an injury. He'd probably kick me out.
That would be a perfect dismount, but I got one more question. Okay, special teams. I know they hosted some punters. Burnip seems to be booming the ball. Is this an open competition? Are they not settled there at the specialists?
I think it's an open competition at punter, but I honestly think Groupie is already kind of solidified that he's the guy at kicker. I don't know if Smith is in a sophomore slump or what, but Groupie has looked really good. As far as the punters, Moore said they just worked him out just to have a list, but you never know with coaches. So if you take him at his word, then they're just working him out just to see what the guys around the league were like. But as far as kicker goes, I mean, Smith has missed 7 kicks, I think, and Groupie's missed 1. So pretty good start for his training camp.
She's Kat Terrell. She's just doing her job, Sean. At @_Terrell is where you can.
That's a good callback.
I was telling Moose, I was like, I'm trying to find the audio. Anyway, see if we'll see if we can find it. It's a classic moment. Kat Terrell, follow her on Twitter, read her stuff over to ESPN.com. Kat, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, be well. It is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows door siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. It's funny. I'll hear a lot of times about companies that offer a lifetime warranty. And I always think this to myself. If you've been in business for a year, 2 years, like, what does a lifetime warranty actually mean? Like, is your company going to be around long enough to honor that lifetime warranty? Well, with Relief Windows, you don't have to worry about that. Because for 2 decades, they've stood by their word. They've grown and been a leader, not only in Baton Rouge, but all across Louisiana and the entire Gulf South. Like, Brandon and his team do amazing work. West into Texas, all the way east. They've done apartment complexes in Georgia and Atlanta and Tallahassee, Florida, and all along the Gulf South. It's Relief Windows, where, yes, they do offer a true lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. So you buy your windows once and you are done. It's not one of those things where another 5-7 years you're doing this process again. And, of course, their customer service is exceptional. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You got it? You hit it.
I'm not going to discuss injuries. Maybe they did in Cincinnati, but we don't do that here.
Doing my job, Sean.
I am too.
Oh, man. Sean is such a jerk. Like, you have to ask the question. If you don't ask the question, you are not doing your job. So Kat is right. Yes. And you can say you're just defending the. Yes, I am. And it's within the coach's right not to answer the question. He'll have to put out an injury list when the time has come. But you are being negligent as a reporter if you are not asking the most relevant questions about injured players. Yeah, Sean Payne's just a jerk about it. See, he throws a Cincinnati jab at her. What?
I'm not going to discuss injuries. Maybe they did in Cincinnati, but we don't do that here.
Doing my job, Sean.
Oh, man.
I am too.
What an a-hole.
That was a low blow, man.
All right. It's After Further Review. We'll knock out a quick break and continue. Stick around.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, where you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. I want to share this with you. I got a text. I told you this, following up on the story. Got a text yesterday from a gentleman named Terry who said, Matt, who's your go-to for AC service? I said, it's River City's 1 Hour Air. Call them. They're the best. He texted me back this morning at 8:57 a.m. River City came out last night to help with my AC. I couldn't get the company I have a contract with to respond that fast. Even though they couldn't fix the unit, they gave it a good effort, met with Joseph this morning, and they're replacing the existing unit today. River City's 1 Hour Air. You want a better customer service experience? You want them there promptly, the job done right the first time? River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, They've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Tomorrow, we will be live at Court to Table. Excited about that. That's Gordon McKernan's new spot. I should say he's one of the partners in Court to Table. It's a pickleball concept. I don't play pickleball. If you do, awesome. I know a lot of people. I was actually talking to Michael Bonnet earlier today over at LSU practice. He plays a good bit. And when you drive up, there's a big sort of breezeway through the middle. So the facility is kind of separated in two. When you go in under the big archway, to the right are all the pickleball courts. To the left is the restaurant and the bar. We'll be in the pickle bar, as they call it, for AFR tomorrow, and then we're going to stay for the Hall of Fame game. My goodness, y'all. The first NFL preseason game is tomorrow, Hall of Fame game. Chargers, Bears, but that's really insignificant who's playing. It's a chance to watch professional football players in uniform doing football things, and we'll be at Court's Table. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I'm telling you, man, it would really, 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 like, I really think that's going to become your new favorite place to watch football. When you go in, there's a great indoor-outdoor vibe to it, and it's great for the whole family. And there are TVs everywhere. They have like the big TV that's like the giant 4 TVs that are all, can make one screen, or they're each individual things. And everywhere you look, there's TVs. There's the U-shaped bar with TVs all around it. Draft beer. Go get you some ice cold Bud Lights. The food menu's been great. So Ozzie Fernandez, of the Go Eat restaurants, if you're familiar with Izzo's and Modesto and a lot of those restaurants, they've curated a great menu. I mean, everything I've had has been fantastic. I mean, I've had fish tacos, I've had steak dish there. We've had the hummus and guacamole and queso, and it's just everything I've had has been really good. So excited to go there tomorrow. Excited to maybe introduce a lot of you all to Court to Table tomorrow. So come on by. Come by for AFR. Even if you just come by to drink one beer and say hello, that's awesome. If you want to come by and have dinner with your family, awesome. If you want to come by, play pickleball, awesome. If you want to come by and just watch some or part of the Hall of Fame game with us, awesome. Love to see y'all there at Court to Table again tomorrow, Thursday, for AFR from 3 to 6, and then we'll hang out for the Hall of Fame game after. I'm telling you, it's going to be your new favorite place to watch football. If you haven't been yet, you'll walk in, you'll go, this is going to be an awesome spot for football Saturdays and Sundays, Sunday ticket, all that sort of stuff. All right, it's after further review. I'm glad to have you aboard with us here. LSU was on the practice field today for the first time in fall camp, and they only worked out for about an hour and 15 minutes. And I asked Brian Kelly, after practice, Brian Kelly had media availability, and I asked him why it was such a short practice on this first day.
I think this is all about acclimatization, right? We're going to have 7 days where you have to acclimatize your football team. So we felt like the data that we have compiled over the last 3 years relative to short-term soft tissue injuries, we wanted to be able to increase the player load each and every day. We'll go from 12 to 16 to 18 to 20. We'll go 4 days. We'll have a day off. We'll go 3 days and have a day off. So within that first 7 is the highest incident for soft tissue injuries. We want to make sure that we get through these 7 days acclimatized without any soft tissue injuries and 2 recovery days. So then we can get into really 2 weeks of camp and, obviously game week prep. We'll have 3 weeks to duplicate our process.
2 things. Number one, I learned the word acclimatize today. When he was saying acclimatize, I'm like, do you mean acclimate? But no, acclimatize is actually a word. I've always, I feel like we always say acclimate, but acclimatize is a word. So remember when Roger Clemens got popped for PEDs and he swore it was B12 shots, and the guy that was telling on him, he said, I think so-and-so misremembers. Do you remember that? Like, it was a famous interview where Roger Clemens kept saying over and over, I think he misremembers. And people are like, is Roger making up a word? Like, is misremember? And now we all say it because I'll be damned, like, it's misremember is actually words. It is proper English to say you misremember. Anyway, I learned acclimatize today, which is awesome. Throw that one into the dictionary, in the verbal dictionary. But I do like very much that approach. And LSU has done a good job of staying healthy, largely. There are things in football that just suck. Like, Jordan Gilbert separating his shoulder just sucks. That's bad luck. Whit Weeks getting caught in a pile and breaking his foot sucks. Like, there's just nothing. It is a physical collision sport. You can't do anything about it. With the Saints, Kendre Miller pulling his hamstring in the first day, the first team drill last year in Saints camp, like, you did a bad job preparing yourself. Like, you were not stretched, hydrated, all the things you're supposed to be doing to take care of your body. So there is a difference. So you hear Brian Kelly, they're very clearly talking about soft tissue. And they know, like, their research shows the propensity of soft tissue injuries is much greater in the first 7 days. So what they're doing is they're going from 12 periods to 14 periods, or 16 periods to 18 periods to 10, 20 periods. So they're going to sort of stair-step their way up, starting the practice inside, then moving outside, trying to keep their guys healthy and fresh. I told this to Michael Cobble after practice, and it was weird. I was walking in today. This is my 19th LSU fall camp. Like, I had to kind of just, like, stop for a second. It was a little jarring. And I understand a lot of people have been fans for years. I have my whole life and all that, but 19 fall. I've done this 19 fall camps. And there's people, Scott Rabelais, Buddy Sanji, some of the people who've been around, Cobble, Jacques, been around longer than I have. But I've been around a long time now. And I was just thinking back to the way this was under Les Miles. And I made a joke to Cobble. I was like, man, how about, like, Les Miles grinding these dudes into dust in two-a-days in, like, the first week? And it's just a different mindset altogether. And I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't. Because there's two ways to look at it. Number one, I mean, you can go old Junction Boys style, right? Where, like, dudes are having heat stroke and they're laying them in bed on beds of ice to get their body. Like, that's not good. That's really bad. That's a bad idea. And then there's something to be said for if you're too easy on them, are you actually preparing a team for a 12-game gauntlet, 60 minutes, all that you're going to, like the physical toll that you're going to place on your body to get through there? So you got to be prepared mentally for those tough days and those tough games and grinding through it, but you also have to be physically healthy enough to get there. So how do you appropriately stair-step your way up toward that? I think that's what they're dealing with right now. That's what they're working through right now, is that component of it. And you heard Brian Kelly say it. We got 3 years worth of data. And look, Jack Marucci and his team have done an awesome job with all of that being on the cutting edge and the forefront of technology. I mean, you see those guys, all the guys wear what look like sports bras, but those are tracking systems to track their heart rate and their rest and their hydration and everything going on within them, so they know when they have maximum productivity. And so, it's so specialized now, and you have to trust that they know what they're doing. But more than anything, what you want to see is guys come through fall camp healthy. And I remember asking Brian Kelly this question 2 years ago at the end of fall camp. I think it was the first game week. And it was the Florida State game. It was the first game week. And I asked him, we were coming out of fall camp. We could find it. It's somewhere. But I said, this is, I think, the healthiest I've ever seen a team come out of fall camp. What do you attribute that to? And he went through all the same answers, similar to what he just gave. And then, of course, Mason Smith tore his ACL in the opener against Florida State. But so again, some of it with football is just stuff that you can't prevent. It's football, and there's going to be injuries. But I do think they're taking the right approach to make sure their guys stay fresh for a 12-game gauntlet. Because the last thing I think you want to do is go to Clemson having grinded these dudes into the ground, and they don't have their legs to go compete for 4 quarters to win that football game. I also like how he said the way that they've structured it with their off days is how they'll have camp, but effectively 3 weeks of their install. Because basically the way camp works is you get 2 weeks of like camp, and then you start like working on your game plan install, and then it's game week, right? That's typically how the 4 weeks go. It's 2 weeks of like camp, install for Clemson, and then game week. The way he kind of described the way they're going to go through it now is you're really going to have like 3 weeks of your game week process. And that'll be interesting, man. So much of this focus has been on 1-0 and being ready to go win that game. And I'll tell you, man, the offense day one was they looked, I know I hesitate to say it this way because what people are going to react like, they were as good today as the 23 offense was day one. And you had a fifth-year senior quarterback and really talented receivers and an offense that was ready to roll. And that offense was like that today. I mean, they were awesome today. Now, that defense that year was atrocious. But the defense today made some really good plays, both the ones and the twos. So I'm not going to overreact to one day of practice. I've done enough of these to know there's times you go out there in fall camp and dudes look like superstars and it never translates. And then the flip side is also true. Like, if I go back and look at my notes from last year, I can pull my notebook and I would be stunned, fall over stunned, if I wrote down Caden Durham's name more than twice throughout the entirety of fall camp. And he ended up being your leading rusher. So sometimes there's things that don't show up in July and in the beginning of August that do show up when you get to September, October, November, which is why it's always fun to watch the evolution of a season. Like we also often say, teams are allowed to improve. Players are allowed to improve. It'll be fun to watch this team to see who among this group does that. All right, it's After Further Review. We are brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake. Speaking of all the health of these players, of course, when you're out at practice and you see the physicians and the training staff, that's Our Lady of the Lake. Of course, Our Lady of the Lake is part of the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System. I'm really excited to be able to tell that story. People know about Our Lady of the Lake because they're the championship health partner of LSU Athletics. But Our Lady of the Lake is part of a bigger health system, a multi-state health system. And the sisters, the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady, have run that health system to service and to provide exceptional health care for not just elite athletes, but for you and me and our families, no matter what it is. If it's cancer services, if it's heart and stroke health, if it's pediatrics, they do all of it. I mean, I've told you my story. Of course, Drew, he's got specialists that he sees at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital in Baton Rouge. My own physician is Dr. Curtis Chastain of the Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. I was talking to Dr. Chastain. I had a medical issue with me personally, not a severe thing, but just something going on. I was on the phone with him on Sunday morning, this past Sunday morning. It's exceptional health care. It's Our Lady of the Lake Championship Health Care, the championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together, we roar. All right, it's after further review. Ooh, we got to go. Quick break. Musso will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
After further review.
Y'all get on by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery. I know a little inclement weather in the area right now, but that might cool things off. Might be a great opportunity when the weather passes to get on by and see our friends over at Clegg's. Y'all, Clegg's been doing it for 60 years, man. 6 decades, Clegg's Nursery. Started from selling flowers in the back of a flatbed truck now to being the largest garden center in the state of Louisiana. It's Clegg's Nursery. Get by any of the 4 locations. Segan, near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. If you know where that is on Greenwell Springs, like if you're leaving Central heading toward downtown Baton Rouge, like you're on Greenwell Springs Road, like right when you pass the thank you for, or welcome to Central sign, it's immediately on the right. You can't miss it. It's Clegg's Nursery. Hey, they also have everything you need to keep those unwanted pests away. If you got mosquitoes, get rid of them with the Aeon Mosquito Barrier. You got anthills popping up. You got wasps or other unwanted pests that you want to keep away. Or maybe you want to invite some friendly creatures like hummingbird feeders or things like that. They got it at Clegg's Nursery.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2, always appreciate Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Lowest prices, never any contracts, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Musso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
We'll start with Alex Bregman, 20th double of the season a night ago in the game versus the Twins. He would also come around to score twice in that ball game. Jake Fraley, effective but abbreviated outing for him. 1 out of 1. It was a 2-run homer. He also drew a walk before being lifted for a pinch hitter. The home run was the 6th of the season. Cole Henry, short outing, but an important one in the Nationals game against the Astros. He was called upon to finish the 4th inning when the Nationals were hanging on to a lead. He did so, 2/3, punched out a guy as well. Josh Smith. 2 out of 4 for Smith a night ago. He would come around to score once in the ballgame. Both of those hits were singles. He's up to 277 on the season. Tommy White, told you yesterday he was called up to Double-A, made his debut a night ago for the Midland Rockhounds. 2 out of 5, both of those singles. He drove in 2, including the go-ahead RBI. Then the Rockhounds would never look back. He also came around to score. Gage Jump was on the bump for the Midland Rockhounds. He's the number 1 prospect in the A's organization, by the way. 2 1/3, no earned runs, 4 strikeouts. The regular short was a healthy scratch, so abbreviated out in there for Jump. Angel Reese returned double-double, 22 and 13. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. So many amazing options. You can go to the website and make your appointment. If you want to make an appointment to meet with one of their knowledgeable client advisors, you can do it right now at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Scroll down on the homepage. You'll see it right there where you can go book that appointment. When you walk in, they'll greet you with some chocolates on a tray, a glass of cold beverage of your choice, and at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, they'll take great care of you. It should feel like you're doing something special and something important. They make that happen at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Hour number 3 coming up right after SportsCenter.
After further review.
Our friends at First South Farm Credit have been helping Louisianians buy land for more than 100 years, since 1916. You know, I love telling that story because the staying power speaks to credibility. 1916. I mean, our friends at First South Farm Credit have lasted through 2 world wars, natural disasters, the Great Depression, economic upticks. Through all of it, steady, doing one thing. For more than 100 years, helping Louisianians buy land. So that's why I always say, if you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. So many people that own land or buy land already own land. So maybe you take some equity in land you currently have to buy that new piece of property. But whatever you do, make your first call, First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthland.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. All-Pro defensive end Trey Hendrickson today ended his holdout and reported for Bengals training camp. He indicated he won't participate, though, until he gets a new contract. ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum.
You talk to people around the league, there is still a big gulf between where he wants to be and where Cincinnati is. So the fact that he's in is encouraging, but a hold in doesn't solve the problem. Yeah. And if I'm Cincinnati, until he's signed, I have to worry in the back of my mind, is he going to play or is he going to say that he's hurt? And that's a big concern if I'm the Bengals.
Main issue in contract negotiations is guaranteed money. Ahead of tomorrow's MLB trade deadline, the Reds acquired third baseman Ke'Bryan Hayes, widely regarded as one of the best defenders in the sport, from the Pirates for lefty Taylor Rogers and a prospect. Cincinnati's 3 games out of the final NL wildcard spot. Cubs won a crucial matchup against the Brewers today, 10-3. Chicago now 2 back of NL Central leading Milwaukee. Blue Jays snapped a 4-game slide with a 9-8 victory over the Orioles. Tigers beat the Diamondbacks 7-2. Detroit and Toronto tied for the best record in the American League.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Saints are back on the practice field today. LSU opened up fall camp. If you missed, we opened the show today with full comprehensive camp day 1 practice report. It's on demand if you want to check it, podcast or YouTube. Just search AFR LSU. That's AFR LSU, podcast or YouTube. Just search AFR LSU. You'll see it right there. Went deep into all my observations. One of the most obvious things that anybody, like if you're an alien, you live on Mars, you get in your flying saucer, you drop down into Baton Rouge today, You come down your little step ladder. You're at LSU. You go to the indoor. You watch practice. It looks weird because you got a bunch of big humans crashing into each other wearing silly get-ups. There's one thing that would be very obvious to you, even an extraterrestrial being. The fast guys that line up far away from the ball and run downfield are really good. They got a lot of them. Lots of them. My goodness, the LSU wide receiver group today showed out. And one of my big questions coming into fall camp, remember, so there are 4 things primarily that I was looking for. Offensive line, safety, the health of guys like Harold Perkins, Jacobian Guillory, Jordan Gilbert, those coming off of injuries. But another component that I'm looking for is how Joe Sloan utilizes all this talent. And I hesitate to use the word problem because it's not really a problem, but you have really good players that are not going to play. Like really dynamic players that aren't going to see the field. The play of the day, Wednesday. The play of the day from day one. The play of the day from day one was true freshman Teron Francis in an 11-on-11 lined up against 5-star DJ Pickett, and he makes a reception down the left sideline, Pickett draped all over him. Van Buren put it up, said, go make a play, and my goodness, did Teron Francis make a play. Y'all, Teron Francis ain't playing this year. He's got Aaron Anderson and Chris Hilton and Xavier Thomas and Barry Brown and Nick Anderson and Bauer Sharp and Trey'Dez Green and the young veterans that are ahead of him like Kyle Parker. He's got all these dudes ahead of him. Jelani Watkins. Look at all the receivers they got. He ain't getting Kylan Billiot. He ain't getting on the field. There's so many of them. So you have really good players that aren't going to play, and it continues to bear itself out. Athlon had a list of the top 25 receiving corps in the country. Ohio State was 1. Clemson, Bama, Auburn, then LSU was 5. I mean, I look at that and I kind of understand why LSU is where they are because like Ohio State is going to get so much notoriety because of Jeremiah Smith. I mean, Smith last year as a freshman caught 76 balls for 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns. Like, for context, Aaron Anderson led LSU with 61 catches and 884 yards and 5 scores. Smith had 76 for 1,315 tuds. Like, you have that guy, it's going to catapult you up in these lists. Ryan Williams from Alabama is another one of those types of guys. Interestingly enough, like, do you realize for all the hype around Ryan Williams, it's justified. He's a magnificent player. He had 48 catches last year. He had 48. Aaron Anderson had 61. Williams had 865 yards. Anderson had 884. Aaron Anderson had a better year last year than Ryan, statistically, a better year than Ryan Williams did. Now, Aaron Anderson is a former 5-star, and Williams is and by the way, I don't know if you knew this, but Williams was 17 years old last year as a freshman. I'm not sure if you I think, well, we have to fact check that. I think I read that on Twitter. Maybe Joe Tessitore mentioned that 1,000 times. Anyway. But it is interesting, too, because on that list, LSU plays with Clemson and Bama. So for that LSU secondary, it's going to be a real challenge immediately, just from jump with Clemson and those wide receivers. But yeah, I was looking, and by the way, it's not just like that Athlon thing is an arbitrary list. It bears out to the Biletnikoff odds came out today. Not the watch list, like the odds to win the award. And Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State was 1 at 3-1. No surprise there. Ryan Williams was 2 at 9-2. Again, no surprise those two are at the top of the list. They had magnificent freshman seasons. They have the stats, the name recognition, all good teams with good offenses, all that sort of stuff. Jordan Tyson from Arizona State was 3. Antonio Williams from Clemson, again, a guy LSU's going to play in the opener, was 4. Jacoby Lane from USC, 5. Cam Coleman from Auburn, 6. Carnell Tate at Ohio State, 7. Malachi Fields from Notre Dame, 8. Ryan Wingo from Texas, 9. Zachariah Branch, who's now at Georgia, by the way, is at 10. And then Aaron Anderson, 11 on that list. The only other LSU Tiger on the list with odds is Barry Brown at 66-1. And Barry Brown made his presence known immediately with a with a 40-yard touchdown grab on the opening possession of the hurry-up, no-huddle sort of 2-minute offense, where Nuss dropped free play, quick count, free play. Nuss dropped one in the bucket. Brown just dusted Ashton Stamps down the right sideline, and I just couldn't help but think, my goodness, what was Mark Stoops doing? Like, how did you not know how to use this guy? Like, how was Kentucky's offense so impotent a year ago when you had this guy? But that's going to be the challenge, is how to get him involved. And Brian Kelly acknowledged, like, this, like, the numbers in this receiving core it's just different than anything he's had before.
We have 8 SEC high-caliber receivers. These guys are really good football players. And so it's incumbent upon us to put them in a position to succeed for themselves and for our team. I think that's the biggest management right now, is doing that. And then being smart, right? When you have that kind of depth, you can lessen the player load for these guys across the board and keep them fresh. And so what we've told them is it's 1A, 1B, and we're going to be rolling guys in and out. But I would be less than honest if I didn't say it's as deep as I've ever had.
I want to give you some context to illustrate why that's not hyperbole, that's not an exaggeration. If I asked you the best offenses LSU ever had, everyone would start with 2019. Naturally, it's the best offense in the history of college football. That year, 9 receivers caught a pass. I'm not talking about pass catchers, not tight ends, running backs, wide receivers. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Racey McMath, Derek Dillon, Jontre Kirkland, Jeray Jenkins, Devontae Lee, Trey Palmer. Now, Devontae Lee ended up playing safety later on. But anyway, you had 9, Jontre Kirkland ended up playing quarterback. You had 9 guys who were wide receivers that caught a pass. For context, 2023 led the country in total, first in offense, total offense in scoring. You had 5. Neighbors, Thomas, Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton, Aaron Henderson. Those are the only 5 receivers in 2023 that caught a pass. 2011, great offense in 2011. Reuben Randall, Odell, Shepard, Kadron Boone, Jarvis Landry, James Wright. It's 6 wide receivers that caught a pass in 2011. Go back to 06. Remember, 06 was the team that had 2 wide receivers taken in the first round, Dwayne Bowe and Buster Davis. I mean, Jamarcus was the quarterback, went number 1 overall. Bowe, Davis, Early Doucette, Brandon LaFell, Jared Mitchell, Chris Mitchell. 6 receivers that caught a pass. So again, the standard is 2019, which had 9 receivers that caught a pass. Now, a lot of that was you're beating the hell out of everybody, and so you had guys who got reps later in games. You heard Brian Kelly say they got 8 SEC guys. He's not wrong. Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas, Chris Hilton, that's already established, those 3. Nick Anderson is coming in from Oklahoma. Barian Brown is coming in from Kentucky. Destin Hill, who's coming in from Florida State, who was awesome today. That's 6. That's 6. And then you've got Kyle Parker, who was playing in the opener last year against USC after Chris Hilton got injured. That's 7. And then you've got Kylan Billiot, Jelani Watkins, Teron Francis, Phillip Wright, all young guys. But if you want to throw an asterisk around someone like Trey'Dez Green, who is a tight end but is a receiver, it's a pass-catching tight end, but specifically receivers, I don't know who the 8th is that BK's talking about, but there's 7 right there that are already proven they can play on Saturdays at this level. And that's more than 2023, 2011, 2006, and starts to rival 2019. I'm not sitting there saying this offense is going to be 2019. What I'm telling you is you got a 5th-year senior quarterback and an absolute buttload, technical term, buttload of receiving talent. The other thing, too, Brian Kelly was asked about the ability to stretch the field because we saw it with that play with Barian Brown. First offensive series of 11 on 11, and Nuss hits Brown on a 40-yard touchdown where he beats Ashton Stamps. They go outside. Chris Hilton catches about a 25, 30-yard pass downfield where he had, I didn't chart who the defensive back was, my apologies, but Hilton had him beat. Nuss slightly underthrew it, Again, you'd rather him underthrow it than overthrow it. So Hilton had to slow up, catch it, so he wasn't able to catch and run, but he caught the ball. I mentioned the play that Van Buren made down the field, throwing the ball to Teron Francis. Like, we didn't even get to see Nick Anderson, who averaged 21 yards a reception 2 years ago when he was healthy. So, yeah, they got deep threats in this offense as well.
We've got guys that can run. Chris Hilton is healthy. He's had a great offseason. He's much more assertive as a player as well. And then Barry and Brown. You've got two guys that can play that X position that can run past anybody, whether it's a go, a post, a dig, and that is an incredible weapon. And it allows us, as I said earlier, is to lower their player load. They're A and B, right? They're going to get a lot of touches and a lot of snaps. And then you add Aaron Anderson, who's the ultimate playmaker. You know, we have to be careful with all of our players, but, you know, we want to keep Aaron ready for Saturdays, too. And so you got Kyle Parker, who I am really high on. I think he's going to have an incredible year. But now you can add Kyle Parker to the slot. And then into the boundary, you got Xavion, you've got Nick Anderson. You've got some depth there.
Oh, did we mention Jelani Watkins? Like, literally the fastest guy in college football? Like, Barry and Brown was the fastest player. Like, you know, they have the thing where they can clock your top end speed. Well, Barry and Brown was that last year in college football. Jelani Watkins might literally be the fastest. I mean, from the track onto the field. Like, he's Trendon Holiday. Track fast, come into play receiver. Hey, just go. We're going to throw it to you. Outrun the guy. Catch on a jet sweep and just outrun everybody to the corner. I mean, Jelani Watkins may have 10 touches on the season this year, but he may score 4 touchdowns. Like, he may account for, 100 yards on 10 touches, 200 yards. I mean, he's got that ability. So, no lack of options. And Brian Kelly said it's the deepest receiving core he's ever had, and he's not wrong. And this one could. We'll come back at the end of the year and see, but this one could rival 2019 depth. I'm not saying one of these guys going to break Jamar Chase's record, your single season receiving record. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that someone's going to win the Biletnikoff. What I'm saying is the depth of guys that you're rotating in and getting them targets and touches, like it's going to, I think it only rivals 2019 when we come back at the end of the season and see it, because I don't know how there's a world where Anderson, Thomas, Hilton, Nick Anderson, Barry and Brown, Destin Hill, Kyle Parker. Well, I don't know that there's a world where all of those guys aren't involved in some way. They have to be. Like, if you're not getting Barry and Brown involved, that's malpractice. Destin Hill has shown you he's going to block and be physical. Like, Chris Hilton can blow the top off a defense. Xavier Thomas is so experienced. By the way, they gave a handoff today to Xavier Thomas out of the backfield. Like, all these guys are going to be involved. And that's going to be the fun thing to watch, how Joe Sloan manages to get all of these guys involved and get all of these guys touches. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. By the way, I was in a break. I was looking at this. Had an awful hailstorm in Baton Rouge. Actually, hail on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge today. It was right around 4 o'clock, maybe in the 3 o'clock hour Central Time. If you're in that area that had hail today, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. I tell you every day, do business with someone you know, Parish Construction and Roofing. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. We had this hailstorm, and we'll always offer a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. And the thing that I would encourage you, a lot of times people say when there's hail, oh, well, I'll just wait for a storm, like a hurricane or something. Highly, 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 highly always recommend check your insurance policy. Check your homeowner's policy, because you'll have different criteria for roof. There's like a named storm deductible, so like for a hurricane, and then you will also have many times a wind hail deductible. So if you had hail damage, like you will have a different deductible for wind hail as opposed to a named storm. And sometimes your wind hail deductible will be lower. Listen, all this to say, like, don't let a storm like this pass and just assume everything is okay. Hail strikes can cause damage you don't see. Let us come inspect it, because the worst thing that can happen, I tell you it all the time, the worst thing that can happen is you wait till you get water in your house and then you get the roof inspected, because by then you got a big problem because you've had a slow leak that you start to see a water spot on your ceiling, because that water spot didn't start today. It's been dripping. So now is the wood rotten? Is the insulation wet? You have a much bigger issue. That's why it's so important to get that roof inspection. It's a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Let us help you out at Parish Construction and Roofing. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. Go to parishbuilt.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. If you want to, you can always email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. If you got a question or something, or a player you're interested about from LSU fall camp today, fire away. There's a couple of other things Brian Kelly talked about that I want to get to when we come back. I told you we're like all football today. And I do want to take a little bit deeper look at the Saints roster, as well as they've crossed the 1 week mark in training camp so far. So still a lot to do, and I'll gladly get your feedback in. So email me, tweet me, text me if there's a player or something specific you'd like us to address. If I don't have it today, we'll certainly look at it when we're out at practice tomorrow. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're thinking about selling your home, why would you call anyone other than the realtor that literally sells more homes than anyone? It's Darren James. Darren's going to sell your home guaranteed. I love telling you about the guaranteed sale program. It works like this, and I've been able to tell you about this since 2011. Darren will sit down with you. You'll do a full market analysis, and you'll agree to a price and a deadline based on all the comps and everything in the market, and Darren will lay it all out for you. You'll agree to a price and a deadline. If Darren doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash, or he'll sell it for free. What do you have to lose? Call Darren James, 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs, reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big.
With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There's always value. Multiple tight end, formations are really challenging for defense. They can be put in conflict, especially when you have a guy like Juwan who can play a number of different positions with his background as a receiver. And so, Jack and a number of these guys are doing a nice job. We're going to need a couple of these guys to come up and step up during the season.
Jack being Jack Stoll, the tight end. That's Kellen Moore talking about Juwan Johnson. And unfortunately, Juwan Johnson is one of the guys who got nicked at practice today. Jordan Schultz was the first to report it. Tight end Juwan Johnson left practice with a groin injury. He notes, quote, "My understanding is it's not considered serious. He's expected to miss a few days at most." Also noting Johnson signed a 3-year, $30.75 million deal this offseason, poised to be a big part of Kellen Moore's offense. The Juwan Johnson component of this offense is interesting. First of all, about the groin injury. You always get nervous when you hear groin, you hear soft tissue. Remember, the groin injury is what kept Eric McCoy out for the bulk of last season. He came back just before the bye and then re-injured it, unfortunately. You can't help but think, like, what if he had just sat it out through the bye, the extra 2 weeks? Maybe you have him for the remainder of the season. But anyway, you always get a little leery when you hear soft tissue, things like groin, just because of the ability to heal. Maybe more serious with big guys that weight bear a lot, especially in the interior of the line of scrimmage where you have other 300-pounders leaning on you. Maybe not as serious for a guy like Juwan Johnson. But the good news is, you have a veteran. I love the line that Mike Detillier used here forever. Practice is for the unskilled. Juwan Johnson is a skilled player. You got a $30 million investment into him over 3 years. You know what type of player he is when he's on the field. The more interesting part of Juwan is, like, we knew what Sean Payton wanted to do with Juwan Johnson, and therefore what Pete Carmichael wanted to do with Juwan Johnson. Is different a year ago when you had a new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak, because we could look at the tight ends he had in some of his previous offenses, but Juwan Johnson's an outlier, right? I mean, you have your prototypical blocking tight ends. You've got your receivers like Juwan Johnson. Then you got your hybrids, the guys that are physical players but are really good pass catchers, like Brock Bowers. Really the evolution that came into the league with Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, which Brock Bowers now is like the prototype. But Juwan Johnson's a guy that was a receiver who they converted to tight end. And we've seen what he can do as a mismatch. The guy was 6'5", but does Kellen Moore have a role for that in his offense? That's going to be fascinating to watch, because, like, we know Kellen Moore utilizes the tight end, but it's just very different than what we saw him have in Dallas, LA, and Philly. He just didn't have a guy like this that was just basically a receiver playing tight end. So that's why in that soundbite you heard Kellen Moore talking about the benefit of having the blocking tight end. You kind of it's a prerequisite. Like, you have to have that prototype mold, which of course is what Foster Moreau is supposed to be in this offense. But he's coming off the severe knee injury, and we don't know when or if Foster is going to be available this season. Remember, Foster Moreau suffered that injury on the week 18, the final playing date, week 18, and it was January the 4th. So you're talking about, it's been 7 months since that injury. So at what point might Foster be available? We don't know, which is why you need some of these other guys that could be available at tight end, which is why the Saints have 9 of them on the roster, trying to find, when you include Foster and Taysom, by the way. So aside from those two, 7 more, including, you drafted Moliki Matavao out of UCLA, but you got to find some stability at that position to complement Juwan Johnson, because you need the blocking tight end in your offense. And Jack Stoll is one of those guys who could be it. And Kellen Moore talked about Jack Stoll on Wednesday.
Jack's done a nice job. Jack's hopped in here. He's played this role of kind of this blocking tight end for a few years when I was up in Philly, and he did a phenomenal job there. And certainly he's got more pass game availability, and so he's been able to show some of that through this training camp, and he's done a nice job. I
mean, you would ideally love to have Dallas Goedert, the tight end that could do both. And maybe those are becoming a little more in vogue. I think Mason Taylor is going to be that for the Jets, absolutely.
Mason Taylor!
In his career. Mason came to LSU as a guy weighing about 225. He left as a guy weighing 255 and looks the part, right? We know the pass-catching ability is undeniable, but what developed at LSU was the other part of it. And I think you're seeing more guys like that as there is more of a focus on that hybrid in the modern game of football. As you continue to see value in those roles. But the Saints don't have one of those. At least not that we know of yet. So that dual role is going to be interesting. So we'll watch Juwan Johnson's health. Again, I don't need to see Juwan Johnson in preseason games. I just need Juwan Johnson there in September when the Saints are getting ready to play week 1. Like that's what I'm interested in. I'm not so much interested at all in what they're going to do against the Chargers in the first preseason game. I don't need to see Juwan Johnson out there. I want to see the other tight ends who are vying to earn a roster spot. But on September the 7th, when the Saints play the Cardinals in the Dome, I just need Juwan Johnson there and healthy. What I'm more interested in against the Chargers is the other tight ends that are vying for a roster spot, because maybe it's Jack Stoll, but somebody else, because Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau are not going to be there September the 7th against Arizona. Who will be? That's the big question that we'd love to have an answer to, and we'll start to find out here over the next month. All right, we're brought to you by Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor. You got water intrusion in your house, chances are you got mold. I mean, we live in the mold capital of the world. It's wet and it's humid. It's a breeding ground for mold. So if you have mold or think you might, you want Parish Restoration. The Parish Restoration vans, I see them at the Parish office all the time. They got all the hose wound up through the Sprinter vans. So that, they'll pull up to your home, to your office, the church, the building, the workout facility, whatever it is, your vehicle, and they'll run the hose into the building. They'll get in there. They'll spray. They'll close up the doors and the windows. They'll let that fog, that dry fog, settle, and it'll kill everything down to the spores. It's more effective. It's more cost-effective as well. It's more efficient. It's Parish Restoration. Learn more. ParishRestoration.com. ParishRestoration.com. It's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. I did want to jump back. One more thing that Brian Kelly talked about that caught a lot of attention was about a former 5-star defensive tackle and what he did today. We'll jump into that as we continue and get to some of your calls, texts, emails, tweets if you want to jump aboard. Remember, you can text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. You can always comment in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Thanks for being here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
And we are presented each and every Wednesday by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Yes, they do ED treatments. If you have ED, you have ED, Goodwood can help. It's not just a little blue pill. They have many different types of ED treatment. You can look them up. But hormone replacement therapy is the thing that might change your life. Hormone replacement therapy is safe. It's affordable. And for every single human, as we age, our body produces less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. I've told you the story for years. I was a guy in my mid-30s. My testosterone levels were in the 200s. I went through an insane life event where we lived in a hospital for 9 months, and it just aged me biologically. Hormone replacement therapy has been a life changer. You want feet hit the ground in the morning, you got energy, you sleep better at night, you build muscle, you burn fat, mental clarity, heart health, prostate health. It's all tied in. Learn more at yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
He's forced our athletic development staff, our training staff, athletic training and weight training. We ran out of weights for him to max squat. He was 650 pounds max squat. And so I just throw that out to you as how powerful he is. And he's such a great kid. He's so grounded. He wants to get better every single day. And he has elite strength and numbers from that perspective. So, yeah, he's going to play a major role in what we do. He's still learning. Coach Williams has got him with him right on his hip every day, but he's enjoyable to coach.
This is Brian Kelly talking about Dom McKinley. So whenever a former five-star defensive tackle out of Acadiana, of course, it was slowed for about the first half of last year with that toe injury, and then, man, did he come on late. But it was interesting. So I tweeted out that quote about they ran out of weights. Jeff Schwartz, of course, former NFL offensive lineman, I guess he saw my tweet, and he quote tweeted that he doesn't follow me, just I guess saw the tweet. He said, LSU doesn't have 100-pound plates. Yeah, I didn't know 100-pound plates were a thing. I mean, I've worked out my whole life. I've been in gyms my whole life. I've just always seen 45s. You got the 45-pound Olympic bar, and then you got 45-pound weights. And so my guess is what Brian Kelly meant, not that they didn't have enough weight. My guess is like they ran out of room on the bar. Because if you're doing 650, you'd have like 14 plates. It'd be like 7 on each side. Eventually, you know, if you're going to have the ring clip at the end to keep the weights on there, you're going to run out of space, which is probably what happened here. But yes, maybe that's what he's alluding to, is they've maybe had to go buy 100-pound plates for instances like this in the future, which is a wild thing to think. But it does speak to the size, the power of Dom McKinley, and the increased expectation. One thing that I didn't mention earlier in the practice report that I should mention now, when they were earlier today working out in individual drills, there was a point where Kyle Williams was with 4 of the defensive tackles, and I don't know who the defensive tackle GA or assistant or analyst was with the rest of the guys, the younger guys. And the 4 were it was Ahmad Bro, Dom McKinley, Jacobian Guillory, and Bernard Gooden were those 4. And then everybody else were with the other defensive line coach. Forgive me, I'm just not sure who the analyst or the GA is that was working, which is very common, by the way. Like a lot of the position coaches have GAs that work with their position group. So that's not in any way uncommon to have GAs or other people helping with a position group or analysts. But it does kind of give you a little bit of an insight into who the guys that they're counting on immediately are at that position. And when they ran with the ones initially, it was the two incumbents. It was Don McKinley and Ahmad Bro who were running with the ones initially. And then you rotated behind them, and we saw Bernard Gooden, and we saw Jacobian Guillory and Sadir Mitchell after that. And then you got the younger guys, the freshmen who are here. This deep and talented freshman class at defensive tackle, but they're going to have to wait their turn because LSU invested at every level of the defense to get better. And one of my sort of suspicions, and when we did yesterday, when we did our the 4 camp storylines that I was watching, I mentioned offensive line, which is the obvious one, safety, which was such a liability a year ago, and they've added guys there, and Jordan Gilbert's healthy and all that. One of the things that I mentioned was Kyle Williams, because last year Bo Davis did really a magnificent job with that defensive line, especially given the lack of ingredients to get the productivity that they did out of the guys they had. It showed tremendous buy-in and just effort and technique. You didn't have All-Americans. You didn't have anybody get drafted. I mean, Gio Paez and Paris Shand and freshman and Ahmad Bro. Some guys playing out of position. They did a really solid job considering. And Bo Davis was recruiting a certain type of player. Like the two transfers, Sadir Mitchell and Bernard Gooden, are the best example I can give you of this change. Sadir Mitchell is 360 pounds. Bo Davis recruited him to Texas, and then when Bo Davis came to Baton Rouge, he recruited Sadir Mitchell out of the transfer portal to LSU. Kyle Williams comes in, and he recruits Bernard Gooden out of the transfer portal, who's 6'1", 280. And today, Bernard Gooden had 2 sacks and a TFL in the team period going against Josh Thompson, the transfer from Northwestern. I mean, it was like a turnstile there when they went outdoors. It just goes to show you stylistically the difference between what Bo Davis wanted and what Kyle Williams wants and covets in a defensive lineman. So how that works. Remember, Ahmad Bro is another one who's going to be a smaller defensive tackle, converted from, he's the guy who last year told the story about his Whataburger order, he ate like the 16 large fries or whatever it was, and the jalapeno, bacon, cheddar cheese, whatever it was. Like, it was gaining weight to play tackle, but he's still ain't Don McKinley. I mean, he's not a 330-pound dude. He's a dude that's going to be in that 280, 290 range. So how does Kyle Williams blend mesh that? The ingredients he has, which don't really meet what he wants to do, but it's what he's got. He's got to maximize it. So we've got a little bit of both. It'll be interesting to see. But we're excited to look at Don McKinley in his sophomore year, the former 5-star who it took him a little while to get healthy last year, but when he did, man, boom, he was explosive and could very well have a dominant season this year. All right, it's after further review. Man, I was having a chat earlier today with Chef Layton over at Supper Club, and we were talking whiskey, and you all know that I'm a whiskey nerd. If you love whiskey, I would put Supper Club's whiskey selection up there with anybody else in town. And the prices for a pour are reasonable relative to what you'd normally pay for some of these things. I was talking to Chef Layton today. He was running through the inventory. I mean, they got Van Winkle. I mean, they got Pappy 15, Pappy 20. They got the full Weller vertical. They've got all of the E.H. Taylors. They've got Blanton's. Blanton's straight from the barrel. Blanton's Gold. Hundreds. I mean, the selection is quite incredible. A lot of the mash bill 2s there if you want to try the Rock Hill Farms or Elmer T. Lee. I'm speaking Greek to some of you, but just understand, for those who know whiskey and you're looking for great whiskeys and you love to go have a great pour, that you may never find the bottle on a shelf or never win it in a raffle, but you want to sample these great whiskeys, you can do it at Supper Club. And remember, you don't need a reservation to go sit at the bar. It's one of the things that I try to stress enough, but still, it's a barrier for a lot of people. It's open seating at the bar. You can always walk into Supper Club and have a great bar experience. Look, you want to sit at the bar and have dinner and have a dynamite meal at the bar, you could do it. But if you want to walk in and have a glass of whiskey, have a glass of wine with a client or with your significant other, have a great craft cocktail, Supper Club is a great place to do it. It's the best place for dinner, best place to celebrate anything. But you want a great pour of whiskey from their selection, it's an unmatched selection you'll find in town. It's at Supper Club. Get your reservation at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com, or you can always just walk on in, y'all, because it's open seating at the bar from Tuesday to Saturday at Supper Club. Supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Otter's still out in San Diego at Del Mar watching the ponies. Maybe he'll never come back. We'll see. I hope he does. I miss the Otter. John Bornay said, Matt, what's the status of Nick Anderson? Sounds like the wide receivers had a better day than the secondary. So Nick Anderson, Brian Kelly did discuss Nick Anderson. So we have it. Here you go. Can you play? This was Brian Kelly on the Oklahoma transfer, Nick Anderson.
Yeah, we kept him out of contact today. He had gone through our concussion protocol. He got into a little fender bender. And so we wanted to make sure. So he's cleared our concussion protocol. So today was his day of non-contact. He'll be able to get into 11 on 11, 7 on 7 tomorrow.
That's great news. So we should see, and it'll be interesting to see where he lines up and what part of the rotation. And Nick Anderson, we just didn't see him much in spring because he was still coming back from the quad injury that cost him his whole season last year at Oklahoma. But make no mistake, that dude averaged 21 yards a reception at OU 2 years ago. If he's on the field, he's a difference maker, and he stands out. So we'll look into it, see how it goes. And tomorrow when we're out there. Again, LSU does have media availability at practice on Thursday morning. They'll practice Friday, but no media availability. Full media gets the full practice on Saturday, and then they have a rest day on Sunday. So we'll keep you posted. Every time we have availability, we'll give you these full practice reports. All right, it's After Further Review, final break of the show. We'll come back. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll wrap up with what we learned and a little Ask Us. So you can text your questions if you got them in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon, of course, partnered in Court to Table. Great new concept in Baton Rouge, and we will be doing AFR Thursday from Court to Table, celebrating the opening of the NFL preseason. Thursday is the Hall of Fame game, Chargers-Bears. If you need a place to watch, come discover your new favorite place to watch football or any sporting event in Baton Rouge. Court to Table, AFR from 3 to 6. And then afterwards, I'm going to stick around and we're going to watch the Hall of Fame game. So even if you come by just to have a beer, just to say hello, maybe to watch the whole game, maybe bring the family, maybe pick up dinner to bring it home, whatever it is, pop on in Thursday for AFR 3 to 6 or after in the Hall of Fame game and experience Court to Table for the first time if you haven't yet. We're looking forward to it. Gordon, of course, one of the partners there in Court to Table. And, of course, if you've been injured in an accident, you know what to do. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on the Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Lowest prices, never any contracts. You can always visit them online at yourgoodwood.com. yourgoodwood.com. We'll get to what we learned in just a bit. Missing Otter, man. Miss Otter locks. Miss losing on all his bets. Otter catching a stray. But he'll be back from Del Mar at some point, and we'll start doing Otter locks again. I'm really looking forward to football Sunday. Jimmy and his band of merry handicappers just throwing out winners left and right. Paying people's mortgages and whatnot. All right, let's see. We get to questions. You can email us, tweet us, or text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. It's a question coming in. Clayton Knight said, so Brian Kelly said Nussmeier can run 21.4 miles per hour. That's like a high 4.5 40. What number was that? Do we have that one in his... is that the areas of growth for Nussmeier, number 12?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about all the things, though. I mean, you'd probably have to, like, scroll to the end of that soundbite if you want to get that part of it. But
I can find it. Hold on.
He did talk about that. And I said, you want a bold prediction? Here's a bold prediction for you. I'll make a bold... We can go... I'll go on the record. Garrett Nuss... Let's see. In his career... Okay, go ahead, hit it, please.
I think physically he's taking care of his body, so he understands that, he ran 21.4 miles per hour. I mean, that's high 4.5s. So I think he clearly understands that when the opportunity arises, that he can take off and be an effective runner.
In his career, Garrett Nussmeier has 41 carries for negative 96 yards.
I was going to ask whenever you gave the total if it was sack adjusted, but never mind.
Well, all rushing college is stupid, and so rushing totals are sack adjusted. But last year, Nuss had 34 carries for negative 38. I will make a prediction that Garrett Nussmeier will finish this season with more than 100 rushing yards. So it'll be a sack adjusted total, so his sack numbers will be in there, but he will finish with more than 100 rushing yards, sack adjusted, this season. We can go ahead and lock that in. It's just been too much of an emphasis. Like, they showed us a play in spring with the media there where they ran, it was a zone read formation, but it was a design quarterback run. It was basically a naked boot, just without the passing attempt. And Garrett ran for 20 yards. And then in the spring scrimmage, they ran a quarterback draw in the red zone. And Garrett Nussmeier ran for a touchdown. He did score 3 rushing touchdowns a year ago. They've just made such a big deal out of it. Garrett's talked about it. Everybody knows it. He's got to be willing. Brian Kelly said, and it might have been in that answer as well, the worst play has to be 0. Like, the worst result has to be 0, meaning like there's just no gain on the play. An incomplete pass, you get back to the line of scrimmage, whatever. It just can't be the devastating play. And so much of that is Garrett learning, hey, when it's not there, tuck the ball and get 5 yards and move the sticks, or now it's 2nd and 5 or 3rd and 5 instead of 3rd and 10, or an interception or taking a sack, whatever. So I do think Garrett will, and Garrett's a good athlete, man. I do think he will run the ball more this year. I'm not saying, like, in 19, Burrow ran for like 400 yards that year. Hang on, I'll find it. Burrow in 2019 rushed for 527 yards. So he had no, I'm sorry. He ran for 368. He ran for 368. So in 2018 he ran for 399. In 2019 he ran for 368. I don't know that Nuss gets to that number. Joe ran 115 times. Now, they also play 15 games. So maybe if you get to the point in the season where you're playing 15 or 16 games, that could happen. But I'm setting this on a sack-adjusted number through 12 games. I do. I think we're going to see Nussmeier more closely resemble that this year than a guy that last year had 34 attempts for -38. And Heath Savoy said, are our receivers awesome, or is there still concern in the secondary? The answer to your question is yes. The receivers are awesome. And there is concern in the secondary. And look, I talked about it earlier. Athlon put out their list of the top 25 receiving groups in the country. Number 1 was Ohio State. Number 2 was Clemson. So you're going to be tested immediately week 1 on the road. You got better talent than you did a year ago. That's undeniable. But you still got to figure it out. Just got a month to do it. See if they can. Tigers are back on the practice field tomorrow. I'll be there. And, of course, I'll have a practice report for you on Locked on LSU, on LouisianaSports.net, and right here on AFR. Muse Pauly, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about our friends over at the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Schedule that eye exam with Dr. Blake Williamson. I'm going to keep hammering this, y'all. Parents. It's back to school time. Make sure your kiddos get their annual eye exam. The Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. They got locations all over the Baton Rouge area. You have Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet, Connells. They got Denham, Zachary, Lutcher, St. Francisville. So they got a Williamson Eye Center location near you, and they're a full-service optical shop. Yes, they do refractive procedures, LASIK, PRK, EVO ICL, custom lens replacement. I tell you all the time, you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, you can do it. But your kiddos are going back to school. Make sure they have their annual eye exam before school. Set it up today at the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.